Oh, I've actually here with your boy Zack, Richard C Meyer, who is the creator of books like Jawbreakers, Iron Sights, Expendables, Go to Hell, Pandemic. I've got my books here, by the way, Zack.
Nice.
I've actually got two, first and second printing. I might have had a milkshake accident with one of them. Sequel, boobs, and then the Iron Sights. I want to talk to you about this later because I really enjoyed the first Iron. I've not managed to get to Two Psychos.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed the first Iron Sights.
Yeah, that was the #1 best reviewed book until I think Iron Sights 2 has gotten better reviews. It's it's still getting out to people, but I think only like a couple people said they liked the first one more. That's like the #1 best loved thing I'm doing right now.
I was actually pretty surprised because I thought it was going to be relatively formulaic, and I was actually quite surprised at how much I got into the story. And when I read it, I kind of like blasted through. I reread it earlier today just to make sure I was fresh in the brain because But yeah, when I first got this through, when this first came through for me, I was like, oh yeah, this was fun stuff. So
well, that's what it was meant for. It's meant for two things. It's meant I used to just have basic TV in America, which is like 4 channels, and I didn't have HBO or anything back in the day. But sometimes at like 2 a.m, they'd show like a solid action movie from a couple years earlier. And I'm already tired. You're like, whatever, I'll watch 10 minutes. And suddenly it's 4:30 in the morning, you watch the whole thing. And that's with the idea. They're like, some people say like, this stuff moves too fast. It's like, I'm trying to keep you awake. I'm symbolizing you at 2:30 in the morning and that type of shoot 'em up action movie that I used to watch. And then you literally hear birds chirping at the end of the movie. And the other thing that is that, and I've literally had people say this, they go, I opened this up at the, my mailbox. And then I read the thing at my mailbox, and it's 20 minutes later, I got a sunburn, or where you set down your keys inside your house. So that might be one of the secrets. Is it's kind of written in sort of a desperate fashion, like I want you to not. You got to go take a piss. Whatever you guys set down your groceries, do that later. Finish the book. It's not that long. Just finish it.
Well, I today when I was refreshing myself with it, I actually found myself going outside. In the backyard, sat down, sun beating down on me, because it's set, border town.
Yeah,
it kind of added to the experience of it. And I didn't take any drink out with me, so I was kind of like feeling parched. I was going through. I know it's kind of like felt like a bit like watching Insomniac with De Niro and stuff. So that was. Oh, was it Pacino? It's Pacino, wasn't it? Insomnia. So it kind of added to that aspect. I felt it as I was reading through it. But your story in the comic world is crazy. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Just before we went live, I was just briefly chatting with Richard, and I said that I came across your channel because of watching EVS, watching Ethan Van Sciver, and I was watching his Star Wars stuff, and he'd refer to your boy Zack. And eventually I found myself over on Richard's channel, and I was just loving these roasts that you're doing of these comics. I thought they were fair. I didn't think you were being anything, because you're reading through them and it's utter trash. And then I go back through your back videos, and I start to unravel the story of what was going on behind the scenes, and how one guy sat in his room with a camera literally just pointing at the comic, brought an industry, just freaked an industry out.
It really is. So, I'm middle-aged, so I have Facebook, of course. And you know how it is. Someone will respond to a message from 10 years ago. But it doesn't say, this is from 10 years ago. You just got a comment. So I saw a name I didn't recognize. I clicked on it, and it was a thread from an established pro from 2017. And so I was like, what is there more movement? No, it was just this guy who just found this somehow. It wasn't. There was. I talked about this in one of my videos, and people got confused. They thought I was saying that the pro was still talking about it 3 years ago. No, it was just some random person. But you get the notification.
Yeah.
So I go, oh, I forgot about this stuff. So I started reading through it, and I started to actually get kind of pissed because I forgot how literally mentally ill, insane the reaction to me was. It was, and I made the analogy, it was like someone in a small town who had maybe done like a hit and run and like killed a child and then went to prison, but I got let out after like 5 years. And then I was back in my own small town. Just everyone hates me. Like,
Yeah.
the reaction was to someone who was a murderer or a terrorist. It was so out of proportion. And I actually got angry at myself for spending like the next year and a half trying to talk to these people as if, oh, it's just a misunderstanding. No, you're lunatics. You're
Yeah.
acting like lunatics. And I never should. And I was like, I remember when 2018 rolled around and there was more craziness in 2018. I told a friend, I go, I'm going to start going to conventions. I'm going to do a charm offensive. I'm going to walk up to people. I'm going to shake their hand because that's how normal people are. People just get over stuff.
Normal people,
No,
yes.
no, yeah, yeah. Well, I thought that, and so I did a video, and I said, I've just had to I mentally say goodbye to creators that I've read their stuff since the '80s because they're just gone. Like, there's no coming back. If you're still this angry 3 years later, and they are, and if you were that angry 3 years ago, and it was completely out of proportion, there's no rapprochement, as the French would say. There's no meeting of the minds. Like, you can't meet the
No.
minds with a crazy person. And so I said, I used to be, forgive and make up, and now I'm just like separate corners. If you can't get along with someone, just go to your separate corners and just stay away from them.
Yeah. I like to think of myself as a regular person. I just buy my stuff. I buy stuff that I'm happy with, that I enjoy. I get on with my life. I've got a good social life. I've got good friends. And so to see this, to me, as what I would class as a normal person, it was insane. It was actual insanity seeing what they were doing.
And it was before the stuff they pretend to be offended by now. Like, they were trying to destroy my whole life like a month in. When the worst thing I ever said was fake geek girl. And then the other thing I was talking about in this video, because I was in the military for 12 years, and I also grew up. I'm older. I grew up in the '80s when people get in fights and get over with it.
No, we're similar age, don't we?
Honestly did not know that there was a giant swath of America, and apparently a lot of the free world, where not getting over stuff is like a virtue. When I was a kid, holding a grudge was the biggest bitch move imaginable. Like, if you brought up stuff from like last month, or like, what? That was like a month ago. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And now it's a virtue to stay mad forever and to never let anything go. And I literally did not know that. When I was saying some salty shit, I was like, it's salty. They'll just say something salty back, and then they'll get over it because we're all adults. I'm not making fun of children. It's not like, I have like somebody sends me a picture of the 6-year-old drew, and I just roast the shit out of it. It's like, what is this composition? What is this? What were you thinking, Jimmy?
But it was shit. The stuff you were reviewing was legitimate shit.
Yeah, it was.
This is coming from a mainstream
shit.
industry. Yeah.
At the beginning of the collapse, because this was 2017, and that was, I believe, the first year of it going down. Now it's gone down for 4 years, and I consider this to be post-apocalyptic. There's a lot of like, hey, our comeback. It's like, no. I went to 3 comic book stores yesterday, and it was miserable. I will check in with them 3 months from now. I'm just going digital. But the problem was they were trying to defend the indefensible, so all they could do was get out the emotion fire hose and just spray it. Just spray people and just knock them down the street with it.
Because look, one thing that I enjoyed when I was watching your videos was, sure, you're taking the piss out of stuff, but it was fair to me. And when you came across a comic that was actually reasonably well put together, that had good prose, had good art, whatever, you would always highlight that. So to me, it did show that you had an objective eye on what was going on. But sure, it's fun to roast Tat. But you hope that when you're roasting Tat, or at least I would hope that when you're roasting Tat, that maybe the professional who would see it would be like, okay, I dialed that one in. I didn't exactly put the best effort in. Yeah, okay, I need to up my game. Fair enough. Yeah, I've taken a bit of a slap, but what a twat he is. But I'll prove him wrong. I'll prove him wrong. Yeah, you think I'll show you what I can do. But it wasn't. It was just like month after month, book after book, different creator after different creator. And it was just becoming laughable. And I'm a DC guy. You're kind of like a Marvel guy.
Yeah.
So we're from kind of like different sides of the comic flip. So for me, this was my introduction really to modern day Marvel. And so as a potential customer, my reaction to Marvel comics of current day was, this is garbage.
Did
just
you see
garbage.
the Joe Rogan where they showed him the new Warriors?
Yes.
And
I think
his
I
reaction.
saw Larry's comics in the chat. Larry's bought himself 500 issues of that, haven't you, Larry? Good luck.
I mean, I'm definitely going to be hunting down physical editions of it. I seriously might buy every one I see and then sign it and do a markup and put it as a stretchable. Because I can make money off of that when they can't. But there was this great moment where they're doing the picture within a picture. They got Joe Rogan's face, and then they got the inset of the monitor where they're going to show him the new Warriors. And it is so fascinating because you get this squint, like, okay, guys, show me the real one.
This is
and
a
then
piss
you get
take.
the realization, like, this is it. And then he just starts laughing.
But like a normal person, the reaction is, oh, this has got to be satirical. This has got to be a piss take of far left ideology gone crazy.
Well, it's like you were talking about in 2017 when I was doing these, and I would absolutely get salty. There was an interview with the creator who I wasn't even aware he knew I existed, and then he didn't say my name, but it sounded like he was referring to either me or someone else. So I go, I haven't really reviewed this person that much. Let me go back and see my old videos from 2017, and it was pretty raw. It was pretty raw. It is something that as a creator you should be able to handle, but I definitely understand why someone would be like, fuck that guy, I don't want to hang out with them. But the idea of fuck that guy, I need to collude in a conspiracy to destroy his life, no, that was absolutely not warranted at all. The idea was that they would take it and they would be like, fuck that guy, but then they'd be like, you know what, I am getting a little lazy. Yeah, like there was no fight and this is a Spider-Man comic. Like, work a fight in there somehow. But you flash forward to 2 years later, and Marvel has made themselves the target of mockery by basically everyone who saw it. And those are very popular with like normie channels that don't cover comics. That was a comic designed to bother people.
Yes.
To bother people like me. They said, yeah, that's going to piss off that guy. Okay,
that's why
I'm laughing.
People are put on certain jobs as well, just to piss people off.
Literally just to piss people off. And the pettiness of it, I describe it as a post-success environment. At some point, success no longer mattered, financial success. And it became about different camps and you bothering the other camp. So there's literally a camp that just lobs, what did they used to do in the 100 Years' War? You'd have like infected...
Trebuchets.
You do like infected sheep and pigs, and you just throw it over the wall to get people sick. That's what they're doing. They know this is not edible. It's not gourmet. It's just infected, pigs that they're going to fling over the wall into the enemy castle. And they didn't realize like this is so far beyond anything a normal person. One of my big mistakes is I used to think you could make a normal person care about this. You can make a normal person laugh about this. You can't make a normal person care about it. They have normal lives and normal problems, and it takes 30 minutes to explain all of this stuff. Whereas the other side just gets to say, they just hate strong black women. And you're like, I do have a rebuttal, but my rebuttal is not 6 seconds. And so
Yes,
you always
yeah.
lose that soundbite war.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah, so I thought
there's
they would.
actually a legitimate reason why these things, and you have to tell somebody why. But all you have to do is, and Larry, I saw Larry post. He said that Rich Johnson lied. He wasn't picking up 500 copies at all.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The transmission from England just.
Oh,
It sounded like somebody said that Rich Johnson lied, but that can't be true.
yeah, I know. What a surprise. So okay, Larry, fair enough, mate. I've said that for you. But yeah, it's you have to explain to somebody why the industry is burning. You have to explain to somebody why the either creators aren't working or the books aren't working, and this is why they have their attack, and their attack will always be, "Oh, you're a phobe, you're an ism, you're an ist," and it's a great quick attack on somebody. And so your rebuttal would have to be, "Well, I say, sir, if you'd like to sit down, please, I'd like to present my case to you."
Exactly. And
Point in question number one.
Already.
Yeah, and they've got up and they've left the room. Now, bollocks, you know. But it's all well and good. But if you're going to war with like somebody like yourself, because I can understand, sure, I can understand people at Marvel being like, "Oh, fuck that guy." All he does is take the piss out of comics. Fuck him. You know, I used to be very critical of video games. I wasn't expecting the company I was being very critical to behind doors going, "I love that guy. I really,
Yeah.
I really love it when he tears the shit out of our company." Of course, they're like, "Oh, fuck him. Fuck that guy." But it's something you deal with. But I wouldn't expect them to launch a military strategic campaign to destroy somebody's life.
Years-long campaign to destroy what at first was a critic and is now a competitor, and still a critic. And when,
but they created the monster. They created you now. They created
I
the
mean,
creator.
basically, all you got to do. I mean, it's the oldest thing in the world. It's you just ignore the person, or you make those changes and say we were already going to make them. We already made that. You weren't in on the meeting. We had already decided to have more action in our comics. And then what can I say? Oh, I was like Ethan Hunt up in the ceiling and I recorded. You actually weren't. Like, I just look stupid and you ignore me and go away. But they lost their damn minds. And there was never a point where, because you and I both do bits where we scream. Yours is more convincing. I've actually gotten scared a couple times jogging, and all of a sudden you're screaming like ah. And one of the things is, obviously, I don't actually even know if you have enemies, but they'll say, "Look at him, he's so unhinged." I'm playing it up. I'm bothered, but I'm playing it up, and I'm fine afterwards. But these people are still the same anger 3 years later. It's completely mentally ill, and the only thing that really saved them was the movies and normal people not having enough trouble to really look into it in any way. And they could always play the numbers of. I remember even one of the senior people at Marvel. He was saying, "We made less money, but we were more profitable," which is a fine business thing to say. And they did that by variant cover schemes and hiring people who work for pennies, and that's how they got their. But yeah,
I don't get it. You see, I don't get it because I kind of look from things. Although I'm not a businessman, I've always classed myself as I'm a customer. That's how I like to position myself in this argument. I'm not somebody with insider knowledge. I'm not Gary for Nerdrotic, who's owned a comic shop. I'm not sure if people are aware of that, but Gary used to own a comic shop.
Is that like the Ben Shapiro, my wife?
Yeah. Oh, I'm not somebody who's been an artist or a writer. I'm a customer. I'm turned on by what I like, and comics are a visual medium, so I'm turned on by what's going to grab me initially from a visual perspective, and then I'm going to maintain my interest with good writing.
Well, you got a great example right there on your screen where you got the Huntress. That is the epitome of visually appealing. I just reviewed a Huntress comic written by Gail Simone, and it looks like a trash bag. She's wearing a trash bag.
I managed to watch it just before this stream as well.
And Gail Simone is really one of the great tragedies of comics. This is someone who actually has talent and who chooses not to use it. She's done some really good stuff, and she can shine every once and again, but she wants to be a Twitter e-celeb. And it's such an odd path to go down.
I mean, having read quite a bit of her work through Birds of Prey and stuff like that over
I'm
the
talking
years.
way, but you got to go like 15 years back.
Oh yeah. But even then,
Way back.
I would say she was decent. You know, I wouldn't
she
say
was
that
a
she was
Peter.
up there.
She was a Peter David style writer, but she very solid and very promising, and she was just welcome in. Everyone liked her. She was on Gen 13. She was on this, that. She fills in here. She's on what was it, Agent X? They called Deadpool. Everyone was fine. It was a woman coming into the industry, and it was just like, hey, you're good. And then she realized she could weaponize her gender, and she could weaponize other identity politics, and that's been her, plan for the last 10 years.
But what I don't get, like I said, taking it from a business perspective, what I don't get is why isn't the person at the top saying, "What the fuck are you doing? Make me money. Make our company money."
They only stopped. I mean, they've always made a profit. Marvel and DC always make profits. And as has been said by industry experts, the T-shirts at Target make more money for them than comics. So the deal has been, and some of these top people have basically said this: as long as we turn a profit, there's no oversight.
But I can tell immediately from watching your videos, seeing the product that you've put out. I can tell immediately. Let's say you were, Splado increased, and you actually got creators on board to do other books. You had 5 separate books going out a month. 3 of them, people were knuckling down and doing their work. 2 of them, they were faffing around on Twitter all day and putting out shite. You would get rid of those 2.
Yeah, I actually don't really track anyone's. I've been off Twitter since 2018, so the people
I use that as a metaphor.
Yeah, I don't really track anything, and I've never gotten a report of like an egregious specific incident. But I have let people go for slipping on quality. Absolutely.
Because I can't. When he went through like Squirrel Girl and America Chavez, and I recently went onto Yellow Flash's channel, and we did it with a few others, Tug and I think Gary for Neurotics as well, and we were taking a piss out the America Chavez. I mean, it's. I don't want to sound harsh. Well, no, I don't care actually, but it is just laughably bad. It is there to be laughed at. You cannot take something like that seriously.
It is in the weirdest way because they're grabbing people for demographic reasons. With the author of that, she's a lesbian and Hispanic, and she had basically no experience writing. 1 book, 0 comics, and then they throw them to the wolves. They throw them to a public that doesn't care about their demographic traits. They say, you charged me $4 for this comic. I expect it to be good. This character was good before, and what am I getting? And it literally is. It's also kind of similar to the Snowflake and Safe Space. Who's making fun of Gabby Rivera more, the critics or Marvel? Because I would contend that they set her up for absolute failure. They gave her no help, and they just let her twist in the wind. Whereas the critics, even if they were rude sometimes, even if they were harsh, were actively trying to help her, telling her how to be a better writer. Or if you have no writing skills, and there are people I've identified, I said, this person is absolutely unqualified to be in this industry and they need to leave. They need to seek life elsewhere. That's also helping you. Why? What is good to just let you just flop around like a flounder in the bottom of a boat? You have no chance. You need to be somewhere else. Go back to that place, or go anywhere else.
But that's where you need your editors. So where was the editors for something like that?
Well, it's a problem because they hire people based on their demographic traits, but then they didn't hire them based on merit. So if I hire you because you have a beard, as long as you have that beard, you're like, well, I have a beard. I was like,
I've got a
hey,
weapon.
man, this story is terrible. Oh, so now you hate people with beards? Well, I'm not
Mm.
saying that. Okay, we'll just go with. Oh yeah, we'll just. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then when
But
it's canceled, they say, well, the customers are racist. What can you do?
yeah. But this is the interesting aspect of it, though. This is the retort. When you do your videos, when you take the piss out of them, when you roast them, whatever. When we've all done them, we've all done stuff like that. But yours obviously were kind of like setting a trend at the time. But there were very specific, like when you watched a video where you'd roast, you wouldn't say, "As he's talking shit." This guy's really kind of like leaning into this. There was no lean. It was just all there in front of you, right in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like
when you turn around and say, "Oh, you hate, XYZ demographic," that just sounds pathetic. You're critiquing the work, not the person, and the work is there for everyone to see, and that's why it's being torn apart in such a manner. If you wanna come and clap back, then you surely got to clap back at the actual critique. But they don't. They can't, because they know the work's tat.
Yeah,
And so they have to find a shield to hide behind.
Yeah, they have to go after the critic and try to destroy him. The funny thing is, it wasn't just me. It was just lots of other people did it. But yeah, it is something that's without precedent. I've never seen this before. It's been allowed because they were still turning a profit, but it's in a massive corporation with 250 subdivisions. So all they do at the end of the year, they go Marvel Comics. It's literally on a ledger, way down there. 250 subdivisions, and it says plus. It's got profit. You guys just got another year. So with the editing, they can't edit. But like you said, one of the most awkward things is you basically require critics to lie. It's like lie or be destroyed. And one of my things that I used to laugh is I used to go to these shill sites and read the reviews of them, and it was someone in terror. It sounded like someone with a gun to their head. Everything was great. Everything was amazing. 10 out of 10.
Eisner Award nominations.
Eisner. Oh, I've literally had to so I've been doing more old comics, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, and this won the Eisner, and then I go edit that out because it sounds like an insult. They're like, oh, is he being sarcastic? It's like, no, the Eisners used to be like awards. Go look at the 1986 nominees.
It's like me getting nominated for an Oscar for doing a YouTube video.
Yeah, or like
that's what it's like.
Fall off your chair and you get Stuntman of the Year or something like that. Stuntman of the Decade.
Of bestest ever.
Yeah.
And I recently, the thing, and you went. We'll go back to the destruction of your life in a wee bit, but I got to bring this up since we're talking about the major roasts, because recently, and I don't understand why they're doing this, but DC have suddenly decided, oh, you know what Marvel did to destroy themselves? We need to do some of that.
Oh yeah,
so
they're basically Marvel 50 years ago. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're gonna learn from Marvel into how to annihilate our company, which is quite interesting itself, because AT&T aren't going to stand for this shit, but that's just by the by. And I was fucking living for your Gotham High videos, and I think it was the second of the three, and there was one point, and you just lost it. You just lost it and started just laughing uproariously, and I was just watching the vid in fucking tears, laughing, just in tears, because that thing was how.
Oh, I think it was the bookshelves, probably.
Oh yeah, it was the bookshelf moment. Yeah, it's the bookshelf moment. That was it. You just lost the plot, and I was all like, sniggering throughout the whole thing, and then suddenly that was it. I was gone as well. I was just barely laughing. My stomach was hurting. I had tears coming down my face, and the tragedy of it is we're laughing at just the most mitigated trash, which has got DC on it, and it's got characters Bruce Wayne, Selena Kyle, Jack Napier, Harvey Dent, and you just think they don't care. They just don't care about their franchises.
Oh, yeah.
They don't care about the characters. They don't give a shit whatsoever. They have no respect for their own IP. And so it almost felt like maniacal laughter.
Yeah,
They're just laughing at something blowing up. Everything blowing up around you.
That a lot of these characters in America are about to become into public domain, which means technically you can do a Batman comic. Now, technically, you're going to get your ass sued for a million different reasons, but when it inevitably happens, no matter what fly-by-night company is doing it just to make a quick buck, it will be so confusing to the jury because you will see this unprofessional, laughable, what did you say, tat?
Tat, yeah.
I don't know what tat is.
British slang for garbage. Tat.
So they're going to see this tat, and then they're going to see some competent stuff, and they're going to go, wait, the person with the tat is suing the good one for ripping them off? Is it still a ripoff if you're better?
Yeah.
And it's no. That's how we do it. Wait, the ripoff did more sales, so we understand why you want their money, but it just seems like you want their money because they're trying and you're not.
It's Gail Simone suing Jeff Loeb for Hush.
By the way, I can't imagine being a DC fan and a Huntress fan and reading that comic that I just did and reviewed this morning.
I wouldn't touch that with a barge pole.
Like they were literally they go, freaking what's her name? Poison Ivy shows up. She's like, humans, I will kill them all. And then Harley's like, don't. And she goes, okay. And then Black Canary's like, join our team. Like,
okay. Oh, we're friends now. Yeah. Let's just charge at these people with guns pointed at us. And everything
feels like an exercise. Like, you know, you see this in like police training where they'll spin you a bunch of times and then you have to fight with those batons. This feels like you did this to like a solid 1980s writer like J.M. DeMatteis, if you remember him. You spin him around, you hit him with a baton a couple times, and then you say, write a Birds of Prey story. He's like, they're all friends. Ow! They're all girls. They're friends. I'm like, what?
And he's stumbling all over the place, falling over, trying to climb back up again, writing on the page. Oh, no, I've got to go.
How many are lesbians? One? No.
All of them.
All of them. They're all lesbians.
I'm amazed there's a population in Gotham of like 6-7 million, whatever it is. No, it's like 30 million or something, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just going to. Oh no! I remember when he did the the Fantastic Four 2099.
Oh, literally everyone was lesbian.
Every single character. It's just like, come on.
And then there was a character named Boy that looked like a girl, and you're just like, I just give up.
Yeah, there were four lesbians and a trans.
Yeah,
and you say, oh, come on. Look, I believe there's absolutely a place within the industry, every industry, for different stories to be told, for different demographics. I haven't got any problem with that whatsoever. What I have the issue is when you take the established characters and then try and pervert them to your agenda when they haven't been that way for 70 odd years plus. And then suddenly it's just like, oh no, we're coming in with modern day, I say sensibilities. This is fucking sensible about it.
Can you imagine being a television or movie executive and you're getting your pitches and how monotonous it is? Let's name something that hasn't been developed right now. Mr. T and T-Force, from the 1980s. So they come in.
It'll be low like, T and T-Force. That's
what
like,
we want to reboot Mr. T and the T-Force. We're like, we love it. We want to, let me guess, Mr. T is gay and a woman. How did you know? Every person that's straight is gay. How did you know? Every person that's white is not white. How did you know? Like, it's got to be miserable to get these pitches right now because it's nothing like that. They have the She-Ra cartoon, and they hired someone who's a lesbian who had made pretty good reviews in comics, Noelle Stevenson. And then we saw the designs, and it was like, 3 years ago, we were all like, this looks like a boy, and I'm pretty sure every character is going to be lesbian. They're like, that is so homophobic. Flash forward 3 years, Shira and Katra kissing. It's a happy ending, and almost the boys, the actual boys, were completely effeminate and ineffectual. The women were masculine lesbians, and it was like every single thing we predicted. It's the most boring guessing game ever.
Predictable? No, that's incorrect. I did a video earlier today about the Kevin Smith's He-Man reboot, and
Yes.
one of the rumors was it's actually not going to be He-Man as the main character. It's actually going to be Teela as the main character, and she's going to have a girlfriend, obviously. And I just sort like giggling in the video, going, "Oh, there's going to be no population left on these planets very soon, because like the whole generation's gay. We're going to get to a point in about 6 months' time where you're going to have token heterosexuals just to have them in, just in case they don't get represented."
Yeah, there's going to be
this is
some
so
like
obvious
part of Eternia called like Breeder Town or something like that. And they go to different dimensions and they find like the last straight people that are like, we literally have no soldiers for our army. All our soldiers are 58 years old.
Yeah. And they're just gonna die out. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So you're roasting comics. You just sat on your bed. Maybe Luna's next year. How's Luna doing, by the way?
She's doing great. It's the summer, and I don't understand how a species evolves without sweat glands. How does that happen? I'll just breathe out of my mouth. That feels like that would have been corrected somehow with Darwin. So your sweat glands they don't work very good? No, I don't have any. Why? Why do you not have sweat glands? So it's the summer, it's Texas, so I got to remember when she wants to go outside, it's like 5 minutes, come back in.
Yeah. Or stand in the water. Just stand in the water and cool down or something. We miss Luna. So you're there. You've got a webcam just pointing at the comic, ripping, its pieces because it's easy to do because you are literally reading trash. And then an industry which must be so fragile from an ego perspective literally tries to destroy your life. How does that feel?
Well, it's very strange. The first time it happens, it's almost kind of like a novelty. You're like, oh, that's weird, haha, funny. It's like, do you ever have the situation where you're out on the street and you see something and you can't tell if it's friends pretending to fight or an actual fight? And you're just like, what is my reaction? I'm not sure what to do. And then you start walking forward and then they're all laughing. You're like, okay, I'm an idiot. They were just joke fighting.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and then at the time I was, living in New York City, and it was like an uncomfortable street interaction. If this person is joking, if they're crazy, you're just like, ha, 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 and then you just cross the street. And then it keeps happening, and then you get a little angry, and obviously you make mistakes. You push too hard back. And then after a while, you just go like, oh, this is lunacy. And yes, it's not onesies or twosies. These people are actually trying to literally get me to kill me, to take myself off the table. And I'm making fun of comics. And like you said, the word fragile. I have a theory. It's not a perfect theory, but for a while there, I'm not sure how long you've been into comics, but you had the message board.
Years.
Okay, so you were there. So you remember the heyday of message boards and forums 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And they were pretty rough and tumble, but there was also kind of like an agreement. Like, do you remember, what was the word, Godwin? Remember Godwin?
The only Godwin I know is Archie Godwin.
Okay, so Godwinning was when someone brought up Nazis or Hitler, that person was laughed at. They're like, okay, so you can't prove your argument, so you're bringing up Nazis and Hitler. So back then it was rough and tumble, and people would say stuff, but it was also kind of like nobody got banned, so you kind of had to get over stuff. But then pros started showing up. And then when pros started showing up, they got to use their celebrity status to be like, I don't like what this guy said. Ban him, ban saying that. And so there was a good, I don't know, like a 3-year period where the creators were celebrities. They could just kind of say what they want, and there was no pushback. And then when YouTube became popular, they couldn't control YouTube, so they said, what's the next logical thing? Let's destroy our industry to try to get this guy to kill himself. Like that was their plan. Not just get over it, not just roast back. Ignore it works 99% of the time. I would say more than 99% of the time. Ignore them, get over it. It's going to happen. But they decided, let's go with insanity and see if that works.
Because even before, I mean, we're talking 2017, approximately, yeah?
Yeah.
Talking 2017 at this moment in time. And even before then, we've had the abuse of the customer from Twitter as a developing format during the 2000 teens.
Yeah.
Suddenly Twitter starts getting bigger and bigger. We have the creators on there. And again, from my perspective, because before I went into YouTube, I was just doing regular jobs, regular person doing regular jobs, like everyone else. And when I had my disposable cash, I chose what to do with my disposable cash. So when you start to see comic creators telling customers to fuck off, and all this kind of stuff, I, as a potential customer for their books, are just like, I don't want anything to do with this person. This creator is clearly nuts.
Yeah, and that goes back to
customers.
2010. Yeah, so that was even Twitter was barely a thing back then. But yeah, I remember this 2010 very, very well. I was kind of too poor to buy comics, but I was still keeping up with the industry. I was just out of the military. I'm saying it like you would say, military, military, military. Out of the military, and I was too poor. But I'd check in, and Dan Slott called. Sorry, I thought I had all the notifications taken off, but obviously I didn't. Dan Slott told someone to fuck off, and I was shocked. Not because fuck off is that shocking, you hear it, but to hear someone tell a customer that, it was unheard of. You wouldn't even hear actual movie stars say that. Who was untouchable 10 years ago? Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
He would never tell someone to fuck off ever.
He'd smile at them.
Yeah, he'd just smile, and his publicist would grab his elbow, and they would just move past it.
Yeah.
And I said, Dan Slott's going to get fired straight off of Amazing Spider-Man. But then I had a hint, because there were already hints of it. I go, no, Bleeding Cool is going to like it, and then the industry is going to run with it. And that's what happened. Bleeding Cool supported it. Some others supported it. And that's been the atmosphere we've been in for the last 10 years. Dan Slott was the shot, the first shot in this war.
But I've been in before then. I've been basically sales marketing all my life. So from a sales perspective, to me, it's just like this is the worst thing that you could do. You telling customers to fuck off is the worst thing that you can do in my business, regardless of how a customer spoke to me, whether or not they called me names under the sun, whether they swore at roars at me. I would always maintain my professionalism on the phone with them as a business representing my business and company. To hear somebody, just because they draw funny books, tell a customer to fuck off, the knockback, the ripple effect that would have, because of all the people that would see that person, see the way that they spoke to somebody, see their true self, would be like, well, why would I buy a comic from you? You're a dickhead. Why would I line your pockets with money? I can pick a better creator, someone who's more respectful.
But exactly. And the other thing, and I bring this up all the time, it's when I used to live in Manhattan, there was this pizza place a couple blocks away, and they had great food, absolutely amazing and affordable. And they had a crazy lady who worked there who would flip out on people. And there would sometimes be a quote reason. I don't know how it is I don't know where you're somewhere in UK, but in London, if you just if you go into London and you just beeline straight to the bathroom in a restaurant, do people freak out?
If
you had to go to the bathroom and you went into a restaurant and you just went straight back to the bathroom, would that be an issue?
No.
Okay, so in New York City, it's a huge issue. You're expected to buy something because crazy people will go in there and put shit on the wall and shoot up and spray blood on the wall. So you're supposed to buy something to use a bathroom. It's not even it's almost in the legal code, but it's in the social contract that you do that.
Not here. You just go and use. Can I borrow you? But can I use the toilet? Can you tell us where the toilet is? Just over there. No problem.
Most cities in America, that's fine, but New York City and San Francisco, mainly because of like the homeless population and things like that, it's become like a thing. So like someone would break that unwritten rule, and she would flip at them, and but you're like, it's not that bad. All you have to do is say, "Excuse me, sir. Do you see the sign? It's for customers only." And then what does the person say? Oh, sorry. They'll buy a pack of gum, they'll buy a soda, and then they'll leave. But and I never broke the rule, but I eventually stopped going because it became so tense. When am I going to break a rule? I don't know. When am I going to take 4 napkins and I'm only supposed to take 2, and I'm getting humiliated in front of everyone else? So I just stopped going.
But it goes all the way back to me anyway. This is what it goes all the way back to. You are there to do a job. You're there to write a book, you're there to edit a book, or you're there to draw a book. That's your job. Going off onto another device, going off onto another tangent to actively engage and essentially push customers away from your product, that is to me idiotic, stupid, and so anti-consumer. How are you expecting that to end with you on top?
It's insanity. I spent 2 years trying to do what you do, puzzle it out that it's a normal person that's just a little angry, or maybe they're a little political, or they're in an echo chamber. And at some point, you just have to say this is mental illness. It's not business, and that's why I said I've mentally waved goodbye to these people.
So that, to me, then goes back to, so why isn't the person at the top saying, oi, stop it?
Because they still see the green for positive. Once it goes, into a negative, that's when they'll pay attention.
But it just baffles me, because you can always make more money. You can always make more money. You could always have bigger profits if you actually tried.
It's frustrating to me too, and one of the things is that they're protected because, like I said, they're one of 200 subdivisions. So the ones that lose money, those are the ones that get the focus, and they get one more year. Every year is one more year. So they just have to operate on, we're not losing money. We've figured out that people will work for peanuts, even for Marvel, just for the status of having that. So we'll just keep it going on forever. And then right now it's very convenient. They get to say, well, the 4th down year in a row, that was coronavirus. So you need to give us another 2 or 3 years.
There's a saying, which I'm sure is just as known now as it was when I was younger, but I've known it since I was a kid. You pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
I've never heard that one before. That's good.
Oh, really? You pay peanuts, you get monkeys. That's a saying that we've had here for a long time. It essentially means, you pay poorly, you're going to get a poor standard of employee. You pay well, you're going to get a much better standard of employee, because you'll have a much more qualified person for the role, or a much more motivated person. But when you pay low, then what is the motivation for these people? But that, by the by, there were people that would give their left nut to be in the comic book industry, to have an opportunity, to have a chance. And this is why we're now seeing the rise of the Indiegogo, the Kickstarters, although not so much Kickstarter, because they decided to gatekeep that, which is another issue.
Wired magazine just had a glowing puff piece on that woman as like the Joan of Arc of tech. She literally cost herself and 40% of the company their jobs.
Well, it's like the CEO of Gillette saying, "Oh, we're so glad we lost $8 billion on that woke campaign that we did. We're very proud of that."
Did you see the American commercial where the guy comes out of the store and puts a hand on the other guy's belly?
Yeah, I would have punched him in the fucking face.
Exactly. That's like, in the Marines, we would always, mess with each other. And it was funny always finding out what would go from a joke fight to a real fight. I had a friend, it was just like, don't put the hand in the face. You know, like you can be joking around, you put the hand in the face, it's going to be a real life fight. I feel like that belly, that's probably more than the average person. That's like, why is your hand on my belly? What the? I mean, the shoulder, that's fine. People tap you on the shoulder. Excuse me. You know, belly,
Yeah.
that is that's like a primal reaction. Get the hell off of
Well,
me.
that's a grab. That's a grab in my book. He's grabbing. He's that's a restraint.
He was
How
controlling him. It's
how
like,
does
whoa.
he know she isn't walking down that street every day to get his attention?
How do you?
How does he know that she isn't dressing like she's dressing to get his attention?
Or she doesn't mind at all, or she's having a
Or she
bad day,
likes
and
the
that would have been a
attention. She just,
compliment.
yeah, I just
Or-
I like the attention.
She was an adult, and she could just ignore him. You know,
Or
big city
maybe
girls are really good at ignoring someone they don't want attention from.
this is to me, this is the kicker. Or maybe she can make her own decision
Exactly.
for her.
So this guy came out, the weirdest social interaction ever.
Not
Hey,
cool,
stranger,
bro.
hand
Not
on your
cool,
belly.
bro.
And if you look, it actually presses into his belly a little bit because he's still walking. I was like, I think it wouldn't even be like an automatic. It would be like that guy would have punched him without even thinking about it. Like,
Yeah,
sorry, man.
patted his arm away, or just
Yeah,
you know, pushed him away or something. But get the fuck off me, dude.
What does he say? Whoa.
Not
Hold
cool, bro.
on.
Not cool, bro.
Bro.
Not cool, bro.
Didn't he just say like, hey? He just
I
said
think
like,
he said, I think
hey?
he said not cool. Can we get a
No.
fact
What
check
did the
on this,
guy who
please?
wanted to talk to the girl say? He just said like, hey, what's up? Right?
Oh, I don't even think he said it. He just sort of looked at us, just like, I like a bit of this.
He looked and like he was turning, like maybe he was gonna go say something to her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was looking as if he was
And the
going to go
guy
after. Maybe
popped
ask
out
her on a
from-
date. Heaven forbid.
The guy popped out from inside the store, like instantly.
His white knight senses were tingling, and he had to go protect the woman from the horrible. God, Jesus Christ!
It's even funnier when you think about what was happening in that store beforehand. What are those classic British names that aren't in America? Alistair and stuff like that.
Oh, for stop, we got House of Frey. Oh, you mean just in names?
Yeah, what's like the British names that we don't have over here?
I don't know. St. John Carlisle.
Trevor. Trevor, what are you doing over at the window, Trevor? I'm just making sure no guys are talking to women.
Elliot. That's
Elliot. Yeah, there's not
boy.
a lot of Elliot. Elliot, what are you doing over there, bruv? I think this guy's going to talk to a woman. He's got that look in his eye.
I think this guy is going to communicate with a woman. I better stop him.
I saw him the other day. He said, I find women attractive, and he's been on my list ever since then. That's actually why I got a job
woman who
here.
constantly walks past this store every day, and I'm thinking about maybe plucking up the courage, asking her out on a date. Got my eye on him. Got my eye on him. Fucking hell. And we are proud. We are proud that we lost $8 fucking billion. Oh, God. Unbelievable. So, let's get back to having your life destroyed, Richard. So you've roasted comics. You've now had a concerted effort to have your life torn apart. But one thing that kept coming up was, well, if you could do better, why don't you do better?
Yeah.
So you went ahead and you put together Iron Sights. What happened then?
So technically, you're right. Iron Sights began before Jawbreaker's Lost Soul, but Jawbreaker's Lost Soul was finished first,
one.
And that was the one that was released first as a crowdfunding. So I made it, and they lost their mind. I knew they were going to flip out, so there was a lot of unnecessary, like, keeping the secret. You know, we're not going to say who the people are before the last minute, so they don't get intimidated. We're not going to say the company till the last minute, so they don't get intimidated. That obviously did not work. But there were, as soon as they found out, they were chatting. Who we've heard he has a publisher deal. Who is it? Let's cancel them. So it was announced. It was fantastically successful. And one of the things that I was really proud of in that first month is, I was still kind of a salty little fellow back then. So I was like, this, what we can do some, this will piss off, person X, person Y.
Yeah.
But then when I saw the art from John Malin and Brett Smith, it was so amazing that entire first month, it was nothing but merit. Look at these pages, let me tell you about the characters, and people loved it. It was upwards of 150,000, and then like a day before the campaign ended, we found out that there was this group of retailers colluding to not carry it, which is fine, but also to pressure other retailers to not carry it. Which there's actually a law against that here in America. You're not allowed to do that type of thing. So that was pretty crazy. And then I started talking about that, and then Mark Waid interfered, and then my deal was canceled. Literally, I think, if I remember from the depositions, 20 odd minutes after he called the company, they canceled the deal.
I'm sure there's no coincidence there at all. But there's now obviously litigation. We can't go into the specifics because it's open litigation. Easy for me to say. But there's now litigation between you and Mark Waid.
Yes.
I contributed to your war chest. Absolutely, I did.
Oh, thank you.
Well, look, the weird, right? Not the weird thing. It's the normal thing, right? Because normal people, as far as I'm concerned, anyway, normal people are looking at this, and look, the chat's full of people who know who you are, people who know about the industry, people who collect comics, people who just collect geek stuff, regular, normal fucking people. And from our perspective, we're seeing a little guy. When I say, I don't mean that in a demeaning way, but we're seeing a little chap having a corporation try and fuck him up. And we're just seeing somebody who's having people with power and influence in the industry purposely trying to prevent somebody from just getting a book out. You say you want to challenge him on his own standards, his own merit, then let him put out his book, and then you can see. Then you can take the book and you can read it and roast it if you want. But if it came from a major industry doing that, it would be a little bit weird. But let him have his moment. Let him see if he can actually produce something decent. So they lock you out. So I think the regular person, because when you're in the situation, I think you get so close to it, you don't understand, necessarily appreciate just what people are seeing from the outside. But from us, it was just like, no, this person they're trying to make an example of him.
Oh yeah,
they're trying to make an example of him. They're trying to tear him down. And that's
one of the things I do. Is that and Peter Samedi can probably talk about it. They rotate who gets the attention so that you can focus. And when it is focused on you, it is extremely shocking. And people used to say like, hey, you were in the Marines, you were in war. Weren't you ready for stuff like this? Nobody is ready for this.
No.
There's no preparation for people whose comics you read in high school. Trying to destroy your life with a collusion of people in media, in the industry, and then also their latest one is to weaponize the mentally ill, because once I did the lawsuit, their behavior changed, but they realized with a couple of back pats and a couple of thumbs up and follows, they could get literally mentally ill people to do what they were doing 2-3 years ago.
Give people who have nothing a nice little dopamine fix, and they'll do anything for you to maintain that dopamine fix. But it doesn't stop them from being fucking nuts. But yeah, so you put out the war chest. People support it through Patreon, etc.
Yes.
But the hilarity is, if I just get my facts and fingers here, Jawbreakers Lost Souls does $404,000. When it does its initial campaign.
Yes.
On Indiegogo. Why wasn't it on Kickstarter, Richard?
Oh, it's because Kickstarter wanted to go out of business. Kickstarter rebranded themselves as a public benefits corporation, which means they don't have to maximize profits. One of the things that If not to be condescending, but if you're not in business, there's no reason that you would know this. But the deal with Alan Moore and the rights to Watchmen that he was supposed to get back.
Yes.
If they didn't publish Watchmen for a year, but if DC ever didn't publish Watchmen for a year, the board would remove who was ever in charge of DC. Why would you stop? It's profitable. You keep printing it forever. So I actually lost my train of thought on this one. Sorry.
Kickstarter.
Oh, so Kickstarter rebranded themselves as a public benefits corporation, which means they get to turn away profitable projects because they can say you're a garbage person on the wrong side of history. Now, what happened most likely is that somebody that was already trying to take me down knew someone there. It's a small industry, especially in media circles, and they just put in, the fix. Because my project was approved and then unapproved after it was approved. And then I appealed it because, of course, it was ridiculous. It's a diverse group of superheroes protecting a giant ape. And it was rejected for something like subjugation of marginalized people, which was stupid on the face of it and just ridiculous and laughable. And then a month later, they hired this gatekeeper. And then they decided they liked gatekeeping a lot. They liked the attention. They liked the thumbs up. They liked the social profit they got from it, not the actual profit. And
clearly
so
don't like the money.
Yeah. So what happens? They start a union because the people want even more control. Even hiring a full-time gatekeeper was not enough. They wanted to gatekeep more. They started a union, and then lo and behold, 40% of the people laid off, 35% down in their revenue. And then they said something like they only had like $1 million in profit from all of last year.
I think it's $1.5 million.
Yeah, which they immediately reinvested, which is something you do for tax reasons, so you don't get taxed horribly. But they should have minimum 10 million, but because they've thrown away. Because just like with that pizza place thing, it wasn't just me leaving. It was my friends leaving, and then it was people who don't even know me or like me just saying, I don't want to guess the next thing that they're going to gatekeep for. Why should I do that?
I've added up that on Indiegogo so far, with your campaigns, you have brought in approximately, it's an approximation, $1,390,000.
Yeah.
Somebody else who didn't go to Kickstarter because of the gatekeeping, Ethan Van Sciver, he's brought in over $2 million on Indiegogo. Dan Frager, who's just come on board, puts out his black flag, $150,000 on his first book, first campaign, first 30 days. This is when your company is bringing $1.5 million profit a year and you have thrown this away, you get everything you fucking deserve.
Yeah, what can you say? The thing is, do you remember the end of Schindler's List where he's like, this watch would have saved one person? Have you seen that movie?
Okay. I hate Tim Robbins. No, that's it's not Schindler's List.
No, it's not Tim Robbins.
No, it's Spielberg, isn't it? Did Schindler's List?
Yeah. It's no, I can't think of his name either. Dark man.
Irish, tall Irishman. Yeah.
So at the end, he's done different things to save Jewish people from going to concentration camps. At the end, he's looking at his wealth and he grabs his watch. He's like, this watch could have saved 2 people because he bribed officials. And I just as Camilla Zong was watching her friends walk out as they get escorted out by I just feel like what John Malin, that could have saved one of these jobs. Ethan Van Sciver probably could have saved 3 of those jobs. Me, probably 1 or 2 of those jobs. And you threw it all away for woke points.
I think you've really cut the number of jobs that you would have saved with that sort of.
Oh, that's just naming 3 of my friends, and then you name 20 other people and all the money they brought in, and people I don't even know, and people who don't even like me who went over. And yeah, it probably could have saved that whole lot. That's how you guys say the whole lot, right?
The whole job lot. Job
The
lot.
whole lot.
The job lot. But it's your fucking platform. Your eBay for crowdfunding. That's all you are. If you want to get, I mean, I think Kickstarter have killed themselves now.
It's funny because these people create their own competitors. eBay has never done like, we're not for garbage people. They let, as long as you're not selling dirty bombs, you get to, you can sell it on eBay. If eBay ever decided to become woke, they would create their own competitor. You create your own destroyer by, like you said, it's an app. It's an application. That's all it is. It's a platform. It's not political. You have a very simple money handling exercise. You have a website. People go to it. They pledge. You take your cut. You do some basic, make sure this person hasn't, not delivered on the last 5 campaigns or something like that. And then you distribute the money in a timely fashion. That's it. It's the simplest thing. And I was laughing because I was reading this Wired, puff piece about this woman who got herself and all of her friends fired. And they're like, we just didn't want to give Nazis a victory. And I'm like, they don't exist. You destroyed your life and your company to fight imaginary Nazis. You idiots.
I said, I was on a podcast on Friday, do Friday Night Tights. And I said, I love it. I love it when people call me Nazi and stuff like that, because they just show who they are immediately. You just know that you're talking to a moron, an idiot.
Well, that was the whole deal with Godwin. I'm surprised you don't remember that term. Godwin, like everyone, even the people on that other person's side, as soon as they got frustrated and they were losing the argument, and they said, "You're just like Hitler," their own people would be like, "Oh, dude, Godwin, we look like idiots now." They're like, "Just
now
go."
Now it's pats on the back.
Yeah.
Oh, you went and told them, but because it's been again so overused and nobody pays any attention to it, it's stupid. If there was as many Nazis as they said they were, then America would currently be overrun.
There would be an actual war. And it's one of those things I always say. It's like, if the number was as much as you say it is, your response would not be appropriate. Imagine living in a country that's 50% actual Nazis, and you're just tweeting about, don't hang out with me at the next comic convention. There would be larger steps to take. It's like the thing with the masks here in America. They're like, it's so dangerous. It's like, then why are you at a comic book store? Like, if it was as dangerous as you say, you shouldn't be leaving at all.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I do. It's because it just makes a
By the way, I forgot to ask about this. Does that get you in trouble if you talk about mask controversy?
No.
Okay.
No. You can talk about Corona on YouTube. It's fine.
Well, no, I'm talking about in your own country. Are you going to get like a knock on the door? Okay.
No. Because it's not communist China.
Well, because obviously everyone only gets the crazy news from like people talk about San Francisco. I used to live there. It's nothing like people you hear, like, you think there's like poop everywhere and just crazy people with syringes. That's like 2 neighborhoods. Most of it is very nice, very pleasant.
It's Gary's neighborhood.
Yeah. But all you hear about the UK is the crazy stuff where they're like knocking on people's doors because they drove to their grandma's house and they didn't check with the constable first or whatever. So
no, there was a police commissioner or constable, whatever, that came out, some high-ranking police official that did come out early in the Corona outbreak and say, because people wanted to shop, crazy enough, people wanted to buy groceries, and he said we're not quite at the stage where we're going to have to put police officers into convenience stores to check what you have in your baskets to determine whether or not they are essential. But we're getting there. And people just pointed and laughed at him. It's just stupidity. It's just stupidity beyond belief. But where there again, we had one of the high-ranking police people come out and say, "Can you please respect people's pronouns?"
Well, I know Neil Gaiman got spoken to for flying to his own house.
Well, that's what domestic flight or or international flight though.
It was international, and then he flew back and like beelined from the airport to his own property, and he got spoken to for that.
Probably got spoken to because he's Neil Gaiman. No one gives a shit over here. no one gives a toss. We're just going about. We've got ice cream vans going up and down the street at the minute.
Oh, that's nice.
So nobody's giving a toss. People are just wanting to get back to normality as quickly as possible now. We're just sick of this. And Boris has said mid June, sorry, for us. Pretty much, stuff's going to be reopening, and I think the end of June we'll have all of the non-essentials open by then. So by the end of next month, everything should, touch wood, be back to normal without being dragged off to an internment camp.
Oh, that's good.
But we don't have, people don't have to wear masks for shops or anything.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, everyone's just queuing up outside the shop.
Because we only get the crazy news over here. The extreme things that happen.
Of course you do, because that's what America wants right now. Because it's fractured in half. Because 2016 showed how many mental people there are in the world.
I got to tell you, going to comic shops that just reopened with a whole bunch of rules, that was not fun at all. That sucked.
I've only gone to grocery stores, so I haven't gone to any stores that are non-essential. I pretty much do most of my shopping online anyway, so I just want the gym to open back up. That's all I want.
Yeah, we got the gym open a week or two ago, and it's funny because they said you can open back up at 25% capacity, but the gyms over here are huge. So the capacity is like 400. So I went back there and I was like, "Hey, have you ever reached capacity?" They're like, "No, we're allowed like 100 people in at a time."
We actually had. I was cute. The shop, my local shop, operates off a 1-in, 1-out policy for the groceries, and we're all queuing up outside. And one of the employees actually came outside and just went, "Oh, come on, everyone, just come in." Just come in, everyone come in. There's no one in the fucking shop. No one in the shop. Just come in.
People were saying that some of their comic shops are like speakeasies. Like you'll go up to the curbside, and then the guy will just just come in,
Yeah.
Just come in, just come by it, and yeah, okay.
Hopefully by the end of the year, we're just going to look back at this all and just be like, remember that weird start to 2020?
I'm hoping so, but I feel like there's been a permanent psyche crack in a certain percentage of the population, and it's never going to go back to normal.
Well, I think that was 2016's Richard.
Yeah. Well, how cracks are. They start small and then they get wider.
And they start fracturing in all different directions.
Yeah, that actually happened to me, and it was so eerie. So I'm not really a car guy. I got a little, a truck kicked up a rock and it hit my windshield, and I had that little ding in there, and I had it for 6 months. And then I was watching TV and they had a commercial and they said, "Do you know a small ding in your windshield can spider web out and crack the entire windshield?" And I literally said, "I didn't know that. I'm going to Safe Flight tomorrow." And I went out to my car the next morning, and there had been a rain and a humidity change, and my entire windshield was spider web. It's like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, we get those adverts. We've had those.
It's adverts. Like when Wile E. Coyote would run off the ledge, and then the Roadrunner would give him a book on how gravity works, and then he would fall.
Oh man, I love that. I love those ones. Right, let's try and plug you some comics, Richard. Indiegogo, you make a ton. Make a shit ton of money. And Jawbreakers is a huge success. Einsight's big success. The sequel, God King, huge success again. I got God King down at 251,000, which was absolutely fantastic. You're just about to, or you're coming up to the end, about 4 days or so away from the end of Jawbreakers 3 on Indiegogo, which again is doing absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Link folks, is in the description down below. The Indiegogo link to God King. So if you do have some pennies and you want decent comic, go click that link and please do support. This one though is going to be a prequel. I don't want to ruin the second one because things happen in the second one. But this is a prequel where like a mysterious bazaar just appears as if raised from the depths of hell, where you can get anything that your heart desires through barter. Is that kind of how it's working?
Yeah, so I was in the Marines and the Army, and I went to Iraq and Afghanistan, and you would see bazaars out in town, but then eventually they actually would let people from locals come onto the larger bases and hold bazaars, and I just found them fascinating because it was like everything in the world would be sold, and it came out of some jalopy, and you're like, where did this guy get this? Like, how did you get Smallville season 9 DVD? Season 9 is still showing on television right now. Like, how? And what funny thing is, they would let them sell us things on the base that they would not let us take back to America. Like giant scimitars, those curved swords.
Yeah.
They would let locals sell it to us, and then when we would be going back to America, they would inspect our bags. Oh, you can't take this. This is a weapon. Why'd you let me buy it? Why do you let them sell it? So I always found bazaars very interesting, and so I got this idea of a grand bazaar, and obviously it's a play on the words with the title of some place where you can get anything you want, but obviously there's going to be twists to it. So I thought this was a good place for the whole team to meet, instead of just in New York City in a generic superhero encounter.
Okay. I as you've seen, I have the books, so I've already backed it, and Pandemic, and Expendables goes to hell. So yeah, down below, link in the description box, folks. Jawbreakers 3 Grand Bazaar. I'm looking forward to it, and it's only got 4 days out. Are you going to run it for another 30, or are you just going to whack it straight in demand?
I'm just going to go into in demand. If you do another 30, you got to wait another 30 to get paid. So I'm running a business here, so I found it better just to take that payout. You get it a couple weeks later, and then you pay for the printing, and then once it goes into in demand, you start getting monthly checks for all of the new ones. And that one, I've really kind of screwed myself because I've run out a couple times and just stopped selling. Iron Sights 2, I'm going to a new printer in the future. The last one, they're like, oh, you got 300 less. I go, what happened? They're like, they're forklift probably knocked it over or something like that, and they couldn't sell it. But all of a sudden I had 300 left to sell than I was supposed to, so I had to shut it down, which sucks because I think I was like 2,000 short of beating the first one, but I just had no more product to sell. And then I was like, well, fine, when we do Iron Sights 3, I'll just reprint 2 and 1. But then Ibai is really busy because it's very popular. So I gotta wait in line for so it's like, oh man, Iron Sights 3 won't be done until next year. But every day I got people saying I want to buy it, so we're going back to print on Iron Sights 2, and I'll start a campaign for that probably on the 1st of June.
Awesome. Where can I just briefly bring up Pandemic?
Yeah,
because I got this comment down below. Pandemic. I really liked your idea of Pandemic. I really like the sort of the in-out campaign, because there are lots of huge campaigns, Cyberfrog, huge campaigns, mailing stuff. It's big, the Graveyard Shift and stuff, they're massive campaigns. And Indiegogo seems to be that place where, put this down now, you're going to get it in a year's time, approximately, etc. So I really like the idea of this quick idea, on topic, on point, contemporary, right now, in, out, 1 tier, and I believe you're still looking to turn it around for July. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. So what is today? It's May 28th.
28th, yeah.
It's completely drawn. It's completely colored. I sent in 2 pages for corrections on the color, and that's very quick. They do that in a couple minutes. I'm writing the dialogue right now. I've already started on it. That should be done probably tomorrow. It'll be lettered by the end of the weekend, and then we're going to assemble the print file. So that thing should absolutely, I think, I forget whether I said it would be delivered in June or July. I think I said July. And it's
I think it
quite
was July.
possible it'll get to people in June, because that thing is done. And it's actually good that it took a little longer than I thought. I thought I was going to be done with it in like 30 days. It took about 60 to get the thing done.
Yeah.
But that was good because you got to see the current events evolve. And geez, I started writing it before masks were mandatory. I had to add that in. Well, it was like, you need to put some masks on these people. And 2 months ago, masks were completely voluntary, like everywhere in the world. So we had to add masks in and things like that. So it got better for taking a little bit longer, but it's still for a turnaround. I mean, this thing went from an idea to having a cover and a live campaign in like 48 hours.
It seems to be a very quick process. And then I remember you talking about getting the cover, and then once the cover came in, I thought the cover looked great.
Oh yeah,
I was like, okay, yeah. I like the concept of this. But doing these Indiegogos has afforded you some pretty nifty interaction. First of all, you've been doing a fair bit of work with Chuck Dixon, who to me is an absolute god.
Absolutely.
Brought up in DC 90s, Chuck Dixon was the man. You know, he was the absolute man. He was writing Batman, he was writing Robin, he was writing Catwoman. You know, he was writing Azrael. He was all over the shop. Chuck Dixon, by the way, folks, is one of the people, I think with Greg Land, correct me if I'm wrong, that created Birds of fucking Prey.
Well, he always gives credit to this editor. And I think he was bothered that the editor did not get credit on when the movie came out. Although the editor might appreciate that. But it was actually an editor that named it and said, get these characters together. And then Chuck and Greg Land did like the first stories, and they cemented it. But Chuck always brings up that editor who was had the initial idea.
It's amazing. I found out just completely not off topic, but just sort of sideways step here. I just find it bizarre that they can't. Dixon and Land got the composition of the team perfect, and they've just never been able to repeat that since.
What, you're saying it's not a team based around all women being friends and just put any woman on it?
But well, the biggest problem, I think, one of the biggest mistakes DC ever made was taking Barbara Gordon out the chair, taking Oracle away.
Yeah, that's crucial, and I never really was into that. I think I read one of the trades, but I remember the excitement for when it came out, and people just absolutely were beside themselves with how happy they were with this mix and this concept and the stories. And what did it have? About a 10-year heyday?
Yeah, kind of about 96 to, I'll say, around 2004. So probably about 9 years. It had a great run. It was about 160 plus issues, I think the volume ran for, maybe even slightly higher. But yeah, but those days, you know, the comics actually had proper runs. Weren't getting cancelled after 10 issues, because
I find myself explaining things that used to be common. Like I'll use the word run, and then I'll explain what a run is, because it's there aren't runs anymore. I mean,
yeah, it's when a comic actually has longevity and sells more than 15 copies before getting cancelled.
And having the same crew on for at least, a year, at least a year.
Usually, well, I mean, I one of my favorite comics in the 90s was Catwoman, Jim Balent's artwork. I think Jim stayed around as an artist for the best part of 70 something issues, given the odd few here or there he wasn't doing. Chuck Dixon, I think, wrote all of Azrael 1 to 100. Maybe again the odd one or two. He wrote Catwoman for goodness knows how long, or Nightwing for goodness knows how long, Robin for goodness knows how long, Batman You know, he was prolific, absolutely prolific in the 90s. He could outright probably 90% of writers today in DC and Marvel.
Oh,
And I'm
absolutely.
thinking to myself, why isn't this guy in, oh yeah. I know why, yeah.
Yeah, it's political discrimination. Straight up and down.
Absolutely insanity. Absolutely insanity. Oh, we'll give you a 6-issue mini series with Kelly Jones. There you go. That's all you get.
I mean, the funny thing is, we had a talk the other day, because whenever I come up with an idea and I can't do it, I call him and he fixes it in 2 seconds. I forgot how far ahead we are. He goes, "I'm ready to start on this script." I go, "Oh wait, whoa, wait, we got like 3 more scripts to release." And there's stuff I commissioned like a year and a half ago and it hasn't come out yet. But he is absolutely he's a master of craft. One of the things I always kind of forget about him is how funny he is. He wrote Simpsons comics, just pure humor comics. Like, I will literally read a script and laugh out loud at one of his jokes, and that is extremely rare. Because he's so good at the action, the tough guy, tough girl thing, that you forget how funny he is.
I just remember, I don't want it to sound like a backhanded compliment, but I just remember just how comfortable I always was reading Chuck Dixon, because whenever I was reading Chuck Dixon, every character had a unique voice, and it was and he was always consistent with what that voice was, and it kind of made me think recently, because I picked up the R.I.P. fucking Alfred, you fucking twat, Tom. Oh god. And I was just reading this thinking, this person doesn't know. I can't even remember who wrote the damn thing. But this person doesn't even know these characters. None of the characters were behaving how the characters behave. Bruce wasn't acting like Bruce. Barbara wasn't acting like Barbara. Dick wasn't acting like Dick. Or Rick. Or whatever they want to call him now. He's Dick fucking Grayson. Now shut up. Jason Todd wasn't acting like Jason Todd. Tim Drake was kind of acting like Tim Drake. And that was about it. And it's just like, there was just such this inconsistency. It's just like, but when you go to Chuck Dixon, Catwoman, very specifically defined. Jean-Paul Valley, very specifically defined. Tim Drake's Robin, etc., etc. And so it was always just wonderful reading. You'd see Chuck Dixon on the front, you're just like, oh god, I'm gonna have a great read. I'm gonna have a great read because it's gonna be, the character's gonna be good, the dialogue's gonna be good, the action's gonna be good. That's Chuck Dixon to me. Tom King destroyed Batman. A fucking man. Fucking twat. He's blocked me on Twitter.
Who's that?
Tom King. He's blocked me on Twitter.
Really? I didn't know he was in the block. I've been gone for a while, but
I sent him a picture of Safe Space and Snowflake, and he didn't like it. He blocked me. Don't know why. He was trying to defend. He was trying to defend it, I think. And I posted it and I said, are these our heroes for tomorrow, Tom, or something like that, and he blocked me.
That's pretty innocuous. I don't see how that gets a block.
There's a possibility that he might have actually had a block bomb, because I did see that Gary from Nerdrotic was above me and he was telling Tom to go fuck himself and shit.
Well, so actually that's a better term for a block bomb, because it really just kind of explodes out and just...
Yeah, it just... And it leaves a crater, and it's the crater of people that get wiped out in that. So I think it possibly was that, or I might have triggered his safe space, because let's just face it, I think Tom King needs a safe space to sit and cry and have a good cry in. But not just Chuck Dixon. You did Expendables Go to Hell. How on earth did the Sylvester Stallone thing happen then? Was it Chuck?
So crazy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it was Chuck. So I mean, that's my favorite franchise. If you read Jawbreakers, it's basically superpowered Expendables. And I was really interested in doing a comic, but I didn't, really have any connections to, how to do that. And then me and Chuck Dixon, we got so many projects. So at one point, I was really into researching like public domain characters. And I found this whole list, and so we were going to do a public domain like anthology. It was going to be John Carter, Zorro, and Tarzan. And then I basically got told, so you want to get sued by 3 people,
yeah,
by
okay.
3 different corporations at the same time. I was like, well, this is public domain. But it's like, but they can still trademark the name, and it's a mess. So then I said, okay, well, let's see about getting a license. I'm going to check out John Carter, and John Carter was at the time it only had a single license, so I wasn't able to get it. Sometimes they do these things where it'll be a one-off and then it'll fade. Like in the 80s, DC had a Shadow ongoing, and Marvel was able to do a Shadow graphic novel. It's the craziest thing, but you can work out deals like that where you're like, hey, if it's a one-off, can I just do it once?
But
And
I don't even think Shadow's part of DC anymore, is it? Isn't it now Dark Horse or something?
no, Dynamite has. So Dynamite is they do their own, and then they reprint Marvel and DC Shadow. It's
Okay.
crazy. This guy Rageaholic, he's like the #1 Shadow fan, and I actually really got into that whole thing right now. So we tried for something, and it took a while to get a response. And they said, and this was like a year and change ago. They said, currently we have a deal, and it's exclusive, but they did. What about these others? And I was okay, fine. So I was a little butthurt. I was pouting because it took a while to get the answer. And a couple hours later, Chuck sends me an email. He goes, he does the classic thing. He's like, sit down, and he goes, how would you like to do an Expendables comic? And then he starts describing it. Now I get excited, but in my brain, I translate it as, how would you like to do something like the Expendables?
Yes.
And Stallone is going to be in the mix somewhere. I don't know if these got over to England. Like, do you remember 10, 15 years ago where all of these like rappers were doing comics?
It's something along those lines.
Over here, it was like every single week. I'm sure for overseas it was less, but it was like having, so I was like, okay, cool. So it's kind of like the Expendables. It's in hell, and Stallone is like in the mix somehow, and he's like, no, this is the Expendables. Me and Stallone came up with this story, and I told him that you'd be good at selling it. And then he gave a thumbs up. And I'm like, and it was just absolutely shocking. Now, even then, you still got to do some discussions, contracts and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah.
And that stretched for a while. But yeah, I thought it was a fake out. And when I found out it was real, I was like, oh my gosh. The funny thing is that I've never spoken with Stallone. It's been Chuck. He's known him for 10 years.
Right.
So I did all the funding for this. Which some people seem to think that since it had a Hollywood connection, it had Hollywood money. So everyone gave me their Hollywood page rate. I was like, oh my God, this thing is killing me.
Hey, it's Graham Nolan. I'm really happy it's Graham Nolan because that's another legend for me.
Oh, yeah, and that was great. So, I fronted all the money, and this was a secret project, So I've been fronting this for like a year before I got any of the money. And we launched it, and Stallone, promoted it on his Instagram. And I told Chuck, I go, you could have just been a crazy person. You know what I mean? I've never met you in real life, Chuck. You could have been a crazy person telling me you had the rights to this and that. And I just put in a lot of money. I was like, that was a big relief to get confirmation that it was actually real. But yeah, so it was. Stallone has known Chuck Dixon for 10 years. Chuck wrote an Expendables comic. Stallone called him up, and of course, Chuck thought it was fake at first as well. And then they've just wanted to work together. They're working on a TV show. He optioned it, and I remember he told me, he's like, Stallone optioned the TV. I go, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't really care about TV. I was like, comics is a thing. And then he shows me the script for the pilot. Stallone wrote the pilot. Like that's the writer of Rocky writing your pilot for a potential TV show. So they've been wanting to work together forever. Chuck actually did a pitch to do one of the Expendables movies, and I think he got an offer to do some rewrites or something like that. It didn't end up happening, but they just always stayed in touch. And then one of the things that's really awesome about Stallone, and a lot of people don't know he's a writer, they think he's just an actor, is that he is totally willing to blue sky it. Like at one point he was like, the next Rambo movie, he's gonna hunt werewolves. And everyone's like, that's insane. But it shows he's open-minded to, just try
Yeah,
crazy things. So
I'm in.
he was
I'd
telling
watch
this
that.
Expendables go to hell, and he's still got to get producers and studios to sign in on things. So he goes, the producers are not going to go for this to make it a movie. And then Chuck's like, well, we'll make it a comic. And so someone was totally into that. We have a very, very simple agreement contract. It feels like almost like a barroom bet. It's like, if I get this dart in the middle, you know what I mean? You let me make an Expendables comic. It's that simple. So it was a story by Chuck and Sylvester Stallone, and then the script was by me and Chuck. And I would say I'm actually more of a fan of Expendables than Chuck. So I was like, can we do something with the romance subplot? Number two, he was like, well, I mean, I was just gonna have them fight dragons, but you can do a little side story with that. So I'm doing like the deep lore about like the relationship of Jason Statham's character with his ex-girlfriend, and he's having the team fight like war elephants and dragons. So we kind of mixed it all up together into this 80-page main story, and it's all done. It's all done. It's all written. It's just got to be lettered, and that's it.
Wow. I do
And
notice
we're gonna keep that one in print forever because it did good, but the field is much more crowded than it was 2 years ago with Lost Souls.
hardcover this size.
Probably be a little bit bigger.
Okay, a little bit bigger.
Just because of the thickness of the hardcover. But yeah, it will be that basic size. It won't be like a European album or anything.
Yeah. I noticed it wasn't. Well, there was a very brief attempt to call out Sly. That didn't work. And they went very quiet very quickly.
Yeah, everyone's kind of learned in 2018. I think it was the James Gunn thing that it was a James Gunn and then Kevin Hart losing the Oscars job. And I feel like cancel culture really died in 2018. You just got to learn the very basic rules. It's a lot easier than a Mogwai. It's one rule. You ignore them. You just ignore them. They are addicted to hurting people. If they can't find out they hurt you within 24 hours, they'll find another target.
Hey, we got a body count now.
Yeah.
Well done.
They
got a body
literally
count.
have a body count. Yeah, they have people who have killed themselves because of the pressure. This happened with Mike Mignola. They tried to cancel him for doing a Earthworm Jim. They got Sean Gordon Murphy to get fear of being canceled. Mike Mignola, there's no evidence he ever hurt him. He's drawing like Rice Krispie characters during the lockdown, and you can literally almost pin down to the hour when they will give up. It is somewhere between 24 and 36 hours. No, it's actually 20. A couple times I've actually like pinned it down and Google or search Twitter. When do they stop? If they get no evidence within about 20 hours, they find another target.
Oh, well, it's always an ongoing process. Find something, find someone, blame them of something, even if they haven't. Try and stain them, try and twist something.
Yeah, they need to know you're hurt, you're stressed out. If you can, I'm wondering how the bonus, I give bonuses for sales. When they got a dead body, how did the social credit bonuses go out?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe somebody got some money to finish a project which is still outstanding that they've ripped people off from. I don't know. I doubt it though. I think they probably just have a hair dyeing party. Somebody goes and buys some blue dye, and then they just go into the bathroom and just like squish it all on the hair and pick another target. Something like that. Scum, just pure scum. And then I noticed the other day, I was watching one of your videos, I think a couple of days ago. Where, by the way, can I just say, I would totally go to the cinema to watch fucking Expendables go to hell. I would.
Oh, it would be so
shit
fun.
Out of that film.
It's I heard they were doing a sequel. It's just going to be Jason Statham, because these things get so expensive.
I love the Stath.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love him.
such a huge fan of him. Oh my gosh, it's freaking ridiculous. I've watched the first Transporter probably 50 times. I
Yeah,
watched the
first
second one.
three. I love I love them all. I love the Transporter with
Really? I
Saban.
only watched the
Yeah.
third one like once. I wasn't happy with it, but one of the things I talk about with Chuck is like, I take things seriously that you're not supposed to take seriously. I take the Expendables serious. It's like my godfather. So I'll be talking about like the motivations of the characters, and he's like, "What if there was like a Valkyrie and like someone like chucked the Valkyrie off her winged horse? Wouldn't that be funny?" I'm like, well, I mean, but what about his drug addiction? Like, I'm
Yeah.
taking it like super seriously. I actually take the Transporter movies fairly seriously. Like, it's probably something like broke the character in the third one. It's like he wouldn't do that. Like in John Wick 3, when he got down on his knees and like begged for his life, I was like, what the
I
hell
haven't
is
seen John
going
Wick
on?
3 yet. I haven't watched number 3 yet. But I like Luc Besson anyway. I think Luc Besson's
Oh yeah.
excellent. So anything that has, I'm always fascinated by what he does, and I just watch anything Statham does. I'll watch the Mechanic 2. Sign me up.
Oh,
Mechanic 4. I'm going to the shop to buy some milk. Sign me up. I'll fucking watch the shit out of it. It's got Statham in it. I don't
one of
care.
my favorite things
Expendables go to
is
hell.
that of
Do
his
it.
career is that he's so busy. You will see him be written out of a movie to go film another movie. In the Expendables 2, the whole team is going, and all of a sudden they're like, "Jason Statham, you stay here and fix the truck." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Why is he fixing the truck?" Well, because he needed 3
It needs
weeks to
film.
go
Yeah.
film Mechanic 2, and then he comes back and he's like, "I fixed the truck."
Fix the
Like,
truck. Truck's
seriously.
you know what Statham used to do before any of this.
Well, in an interview, he said he was straight up like a hustler on the street, just selling like watches and doing the card tricks and stuff like that.
He was a British team diver.
Well, yeah, that's actually what gave away his because he lied about his age, and then somebody found him in like the Olympics or something, and they're like, "Really, you were 14 here?" And he's like, "All right." he was claiming to be like 5 years younger than he was for a while, and he's like, "Okay, fine, whatever. I'm 49."
I've been rumbled. And
Yeah.
then there's a group called the Shaman here in the UK, and in the 90s, they were one of the bands that were all having a bit of a beepy boppy dancey about, and he was a dancer in one of the Shaman's music videos. Golded up from head to toe in what can only be described as a banana hammock, dancing away. And and it's just like, and that is Jason Statham. It's like, okay. God bless you, Jason. God bless you. So yeah, I was watching a video a couple of days ago on a channel, and somebody said the suggestion, Expendables goes to heaven. Got to happen. Surely got to happen.
I brought that by Chuck, and he wasn't that crazy about it. I think he thought that got a little too silly. I have an idea for it, but
Yeah.
you can tell when someone's just, they'll be like, yeah, and you go, okay, yeah, this one is not playing very well.
There's only one way that you can really go when you've gone to hell.
Well,
you
then
can't say Expendables goes to Margate.
Well, then I said, well, then people were like, well, you got to do the what's that old philosopher? You got to do hell, purgatory, and then heaven. It's like, well, we're definitely not doing all that.
Plato, Socrates.
No, it was someone else, Italian.
Okay. But angels are just as fucked up as you can have angels just as fucked up as devils. So, and demons. I think there could be something there. I think there could be something there, but that's just me. That's just me.
My idea was basically that because of some very nudgy rules, no one had ever gotten into heaven before, and finally they're like, okay, we need to change these rules because nobody's getting in. Everyone's backed up in purgatory for like 20,000 years. It's getting full. It's about to explode. So we're going to let people into heaven, and then some of the angels go into heaven, and the part of the heaven that Earth's souls would go into, and they're like, oh, there's some stuff growing in here that we didn't know about. So they send them in as exterminators.
Nice. I think there's some heaven. You can play with heaven. You can play with heaven. And then, of course, current project running. Link in the description box down below. The Indiegogo campaign, Jawbreakers 3, Grand Bazaar. Where do you see going next? I mean, how many ideas how many ideas are kind of milling around the brain? Do you see an expansion? Getting other creators to take on some of the ideas that you have.
So, I've tried working with other people a couple times, and my philosophy of writing, I'm getting to be like a Luke Skywalker, where he says, I'm not such a bad pilot after all. Originally, I was going to hire a bunch of people to finish out things, but now it gets a little frustrating because they want to steer it, and what it ends up becoming is like, that's a really cool idea. That's a different idea. So I think I'm mainly going to just work with Chuck, because Chuck is great. Chuck is great when I have a concept, but I don't have a story, if that makes sense. I have a setting and something, but I don't have a character. And he's the one who always comes up with that. I've worked with some other people, and I've actually paid for scripts and then just not released them. I'm like, it's not really working. And then there's someone, it's a prize. We're working on Indiegogo together, and he's a very, very unique talent. So basically what happens is I just handed him something. I go, just run with it, couple little parameters, and then just run with it. So we'll announce that one, I don't know, maybe this summer.
Yeah, because you seem to be banging. You do a project, it's done, it's out, it's like, boom, couple of weeks, next project. Here you go, folks.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. Now, there's been some talk about, can you do too many? And there can, and especially crowdfunding is getting very crowded. So you're competing with a lot more people.
Yeah, it's getting competitive. Yeah,
because
it's getting competitive because this is where people are going to buy the comics.
Yeah, and the thing about the shutdown is, I was talking to someone yesterday. I say the whole industry shut down on it's essentially the same day, but it's going to open up over a year. That's not how it works. It was barely worth it to go into stores before everything collapsed. Now I'm supposed to go in for they were basically at 100%
lowest lane 10
this week, but then next week they're not. And then they're like, Marvel's going to start up in July, and then everyone's just dribbling it over.
But that's mostly trade paperbacks as well.
Well, it's some of the stuff they already made, but then they told pencils down, so they're just basically getting rid of stuff they're already paid for. So I was like, I told some people, I was like, and I know this bums you out, but I think you're in the post-apocalypse. Like, you're not going back to New York City, with people going down the streets. You're having wolves and zombies and stuff. That's it. It's you're just gonna have to adjust to this. But crowdfunding is still very, fertile. You just kind of you gotta it's like conservation principles. You don't want to hunt too many elk in this area and then they don't reproduce and then it's extinct.
Well, this is why you got Sean Gordon Murphy coming onto Indiegogo and not Kickstarter.
It's a better deal. It's
going against the grain.
It's less fees. It's no gatekeeper. It's no instability in their corporation.
But it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
Yeah, I'm seeing people go to Kickstarter, and I'm like, you really give them that extra percentage just to own the imaginary Nazis?
And it is the platform for the white supremacist Nazi bigot.
Oh, Mark Wade's on there too.
I know, but Mark is one, so he fits right in. It's going to get busier. It's going to get busier. It's going to get more competitive because Indiegogo is showing that you can make big bank because people are wanting product that they're going to enjoy. They're wanting product that's going to be fun. They're wanting product which isn't some unqualified checkbox because a major company wants to pat themselves on the back. And so, yeah, it's going to get more and more crowded. And
have you noticed virtue signal when they want to make money? They got Jeff Lemire and Matt Kent, and they're just doing just like a straight up and down story like they would have done for DC or IDW or Dark Horse.
I was just about to say, but you come onto Indiegogo, you're going against the meritocracy now. There ain't no fucking tick boxes here. People don't give two shits about that.
Oh
if
yeah,
you're going to stand out here, you're going to stand out by merit.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and it's Indiegogo is just better. They have a team that helps you out. They actually helps you out. They give you ideas. They have less fees. They have a better UI. Kickstarter looks like they haven't updated it since 2012.
Probably haven't.
Although they do
the only thing that Kickstarter is updated is who's blocking who from doing what.
Well, they started they have a union. They fired all the people in the union.
Yeah.
They have a gatekeeper. They haven't rehired the gatekeeper. They're still a public benefits corporation, though, so that's essentially a gatekeeping corporation.
And they had a terrible campaign to try and get people to go back.
What was it? Was it that?
It was something like
anthology?
Hey, we just fuck everything. Come on to Kickstarter, y'all. We're like where the cool kids are, and we said fuck.
Did they really do that?
Mm.
They really cursed in it?
Yeah, they said fuck.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's edgy.
Yeah.
Don't cut yourself on
that one. Yeah. Right. Let's go through a few super chats. Let's see if there's questions for you. But I'm going to ask a couple of questions of myself as well. Firstly, Marvel are going to go. They're going to crumble because they'll go down in flames because they'll let them. Some Amanot will let them. The IP comes up. The next person that takes over Marvel has a brain cell and says, hey, it wouldn't be good if we put the IPs into people's hands that actually care and could craft some good stories. And you get approached and they say, Zack, your boy Zack, you can only choose one Marvel IP to work on. Which Marvel IP do you take?
Oh, that's easy. It'd be Night Thrasher.
You have the confidence that you will turn that character into a big seller.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely.
I would have had you down for the Punisher. I would have put money on you saying the Punisher.
The Punisher, I mean, I feel like any competent writer can do a good Punisher story as long as they know the rules about it. There's some pretty strict rules about what a Punisher story has to be. Oh yeah, I love this story. I love this character for 30 years. He's a great rich character, and they have no idea what to do with him. They hired a man who literally said, "I saw a black man and he was intimidating to me." Well, not literally, but figuratively said that, and they hired him.
Yeah, that was the character that made him scared. Night Thrasher has blades that come out of his arms.
I saw a black man in dark armor, and I was intimidated from buying the book. I was like, really?
Do you know something? I believe him. I looked at Kibble Smith, and I believed him. That looked like a guy that would be intimidated by his own shadow.
I still think it's funny
that
he
be
called,
black. So.
It's Safe Space is the one in pink, right? He described him as being a typical.
No. Jock. Oh yeah. Typical.
Imagine how much
typical jock at the Blue Oyster Bar, maybe.
Yeah, to look at this guy who looks like he's about 180 pounds and say, "Oh, that's a typical jock." What, tennis?
I don't know what school he went to. I would be very intrigued as to what his football team was walking around in. But that is not a typical job. I tell you what, though, that video gave us so... There's the serious side, which was just like, oh my God, they don't care and they're tearing the industry apart. There was that quite serious moment. But my God, just having that put out, I just thought to myself, Kibblesmith, this is your legacy. This is what you will forever be known for. Congratulations. You deserve it. Oh, God, I hate the industry so much. It's disgraceful. Typical jock. And then the other person... Oh, I've got bad news for you, by the way, Richard. It's been delayed again. It's been delayed again. It's been taken off July.
Well, it's part of a Marvel is really bad about advertising about this, but it's about an event called Outlawed. So it
Yeah.
has to be tied to the other events. Although it's a moot point. It's a
But if
laughing
it gets cancelled, then they have to cancel their Champions reboot, which.
Yeah, and I think there's an Ironheart in there as well, or that might be the Iron Man 2020.
That's the Iron Man 2020.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's
all 58 parts of.
Can you imagine? They're just so done. I would just totally lean into it. I would make an oversized new Warriors, coloring book. I would do one that has blank dialogue balloons. You write your own funny dialogue.
I would buy that. I would buy that.
Give it to a friend. Somebody mentioned that. That wasn't my idea. Somebody mentioned that. I was like, that's freaking brilliant.
I would still buy that. I'd buy it all day. All day. I want it. I want it. I actually want it. I want that. But yeah, a coloring book, because you will have to be retarded to buy it. So yeah, I think it'd be very good. And then you can say, hey, I'm actually going to make this typical jock have some manly colors.
Typical jock.
And the they, them, so I got to bring this up. I have to bring this up every single time. You can't have a non-binary superhero. You can't. Because if you had a non-binary superhero, every villain would just be totally taking a piss.
Well, that's one of the things that's like the elephant in the room. It's like why aren't the bad guys like the bad guys should be saying bad stuff, but the problem is SJWs have made everyone so mental. I once had someone like what do you call it? When you cherry pick. Cherry pick panels from Iron Sights 1. It was the cartel leader saying rude things, and they're like, "Look how racist this book is." He's the bad guy. He's supposed to say rude things.
It's like when Darth Vader killed that woman who was fascinated by him, and it's like, "Oh my god, he just like totally made that woman disposable trash."
Exactly.
Yes, it's what Darth Vader does. He's the bad guy. You stupid bitch.
He kills 55-year-old admirals with 30 years of useful military experience. Of course, what was she, like a cleaning lady? Or oh no, she was like a med
bay something or other. And she was collecting flakes of his skin and some shit. And they're like, oh my god, it's so romantic. Oh my god. I totally like, oh my god, he's killed her. Fucking hell. But it's like, if she went into battle, if they went into battle, the villains just be like, get her. And then she'd stop and say, sorry, can you use my correct pronouns, please? I actually go by they, them.
I got a question. This is a sidebar. And you might not want to answer this because it might be, personal information. Do you have neighbors that can hear you scream when you scream on these?
Yeah, one.
Have you ever heard anything about it? Because you scream really loud.
he's a twat.
Oh,
he's a twat, so he can fuck himself.
Okay.
He's a horrible, nasty person. When I first moved here, he had a cat, and he abused the shit out of that cat, and that cat was in a disgraceful state. And I'm a huge lover of animals, and it broke my fucking heart. And he would not look after it, and he would leave it out night after night after night, and it was disheveled. And I would try and do what I could, make sure it got some food, make sure it got some water, because it'd just be left out. And he was just always a miserable bastard. And then one day, we had a house party, you know what I mean, just a few friends around, and the music was on, and we're all drunk. And then, like the next day, he said something. And when you said at the beginning of the podcast, you said, there's a couple of times I was a little bit scared when I just jumped at what you said to me. I kind of just gave him the look and told him to go fuck himself. And I told him exactly what I thought of him and the way he treated his cat and stuff like that. And he's never said boo to a goose to me since.
One time when I was on a deployment leave from Afghanistan, I was taking a cab somewhere, and you know how cabbies, they sometimes get into these arguments about lines and stuff like this. So they started arguing. I was just kind of annoyed. And then the cabbie tried to, bring me into it. He started to like, I don't know, like castigate me or something like this. And I let off with this freaking storm that I was like, I even scared myself with that stuff. I was like, dude, I was patrolling in Afghanistan like 2 days ago. Shut the hell up. Like, he just thought it was like just some tourist. He's like, yeah, he's
Yeah.
clean line. I was like, oh, I was like, holy shit. I was scared myself. I was like, just drive.
Yeah. I kind of, I put him straight. I said, you want to open your mouth? You said, you try and treat me the way you treat your cat. I said, and I'll fuck you up. Right. And he was like, it wasn't just that. It was like, he was a constant bell end, absolute constant bell end. Like if we were out and there was a parcel, the postman would say, hey, can I just leave this for next door for you? And he'd go, no. And he just do, just be a right petty fuck from day one. And we'd done nothing to this person, nothing to this person whatsoever. He's just a miserable, nasty bastard. And so the other guy back there, he's fine. But the person that way, fuck him. Fuck him.
I know. I mean, I don't know much about the UK, so all I know is like Kingsman with like Eggsley's council estate, where there's like all these people. I always sorry to be offensive, but that's how I imagine everyone in the UK lives, in some council estate.
Hey, I used to live in similar-ish areas when I was younger.
So I always imagine like
no, it's not offensive. It's not offensive.
Like there's someone on every side, and there's like a little gap and someone on the other side. Because I know, oh god, what's his name? He was in England. He was really funny. He used to do YouTube channel. Oh, I'm blanking on his name. Who?
Jim Sterling?
No, he did comic book stuff. It's like 2 years ago.
British guy, 2 years ago, comic book stuff.
Mim Headroom. He would actually sometimes he'd be like, hey there, it's Mim Headroom. My neighbors are getting a little bothered. So he'd be like whispering.
Oh, I still consider it in as much as if it's like after 11 o'clock at night, then then I'll ease back on the old screechy. And I'll try and keep the voice a little bit more tempered. But if it's during office hours, fuck off, go fuck yourself. And I think he's kind of understood that. Okay, he's doing his work, he's doing something or other.
Well, I know sometimes people like share like these like BBC compilations of all like the unique television shows you have, and I remember one was like, in this one, we're confronting noisy neighbors. And it was literally that. Like, that whole show was just confronting noisy neighbors. It's like, excuse me, do you know I can hear you stereo? It's like, this is the entire show?
Don't care. That's what I'd be like. Can we discuss how noisy you are? No. There's a lot of shouting that comes from your house during the daytime. I know. I'm very short.
I'm being attacked by specters.
Yeah. What's the problem? We've got noise laws in the UK. You have to exceed a certain decibel rating to be classed as a nuisance. We don't do that. So yeah. And then he could just go fuck himself anyway.
Well, then also I see stuff like, I remember in Sherlock they had what is it called, an ASBO?
Yes, ASBOs. Yeah. We
don't have ASBOs over here.
Antisocial behavior.
Yeah, order. So you'll like, it's stuff that's not illegal, but it's kind of illegal, and you can still get a fine, something like that.
ASBOs were a thing 15 years ago.
Oh, they don't do that anymore.
Nah. Yeah, it was a thing of its time. It was a product of its time. It died out very quickly. Did ASBOs? Yeah, Sherlock's written by Stephen Moffat.
Oh my gosh, Sherlock started off so good, and I tried to watch like the last season. They had Holmes's wife is like James Bond, leading these like
Watson's wife.
Yeah, Watson's wife.
Yeah.
They're having whole storylines based on her, like in this military kit, like taking down terrorists with submachine guns. You're like, you gotta stop with this stuff. This is ridiculous.
It was shit. It was
First season
really,
was
really
really
shit. The
good.
last
I think the second was pretty good too.
first couple of seasons were good, but
They were great.
Moffat has a tendency to overthink, shall we say, overthink things, and can get a little bit too big for his boots, too clever for his boots. When he reins stuff back, he's excellent. He's absolutely excellent. But and I had a sister that I forgot about, and I thought she was a dog, but it was actually a girl. Fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here, Stephen. Project 17 with a £2 super chat. So, Zack, what's your toaster like? We've got a thing on my channel that I like people to send me a tweet of their toaster.
Really? Okay. I got a tile versus carpet. I started to notice I had a lot of customers who have tile, and carpet is pretty common in America. So that's what they send me pictures of. Toaster it's okay.
It's all right.
It's
Is
a
it a 2 slot? Is it 4 slot? 4 slot.
Four. It's
Nice.
it's made for English muffins almost exclusively.
I like. Raging Golden Eagle. I backed his campaign. Raging Golden Eagle. What did they bring in? Like 213,000. There you go. There's another huge one right there. Unbelievable.
Raging Golden Eagle's first Indiegogo was 200,000 plus.
Yeah.
And most likely it would have been a Kickstarter, because that's what everyone did 2 years ago. You did Kickstarters. 3 years.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, but isn't.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. And this is another thing about the whole Kickstarter business with yourself, because you're friends with EVS. EVS doesn't go on Kickstarter because of it's deemed as an unfriendly place. So he goes over to Indiegogo, where you've gone. You two create huge campaigns. Cyberfrog does colossal numbers. Like I said, 404,000 with Jawbreakers, first Jawbreakers. So people are seeing the money that you've made and gone, why would I go on to Kickstarter?
Yeah.
So the knock-on effect, the ripple effect, is just colossal. And I'm just bringing up my Blade Devil. Let's have a look. I went and see, I spent $135 on that Blade Devil. $135. 212,000 first Kickstarter.
Amazing.
And that's money that could have gone. And when you're doing 1.5 million profit a year, you got Cyberfrog 1.1 million. Ethan's now done 2 million plus total. You've done 1.4 million. Dan Frager's already on 100 and something thousand. John Malin's probably brought in 500,000, 600,000.
Yeah.
Blade Devil 215 odd thousand. And I could go, I could just cherry pick all through my campaigns, because my campaigns, my contributions, I really should say. And it's just hit after hit after hit after hit. Just huge numbers. All gone. Well done, Kickstarter. Well done. And how many people are Indiegogo laying off?
40%.
No, Indiegogo. How many are Indiegogo?
Indiegogo. Yeah, none.
None.
Well, actually, the funny thing is, some of the the usual suspects, they're like, Indiegogo had layoffs a year and a half ago. I looked it up. It's not remotely analogous. It was a couple people, during a corporate restructure type of event. Yeah, this is just our revenue has disappeared.
Yeah,
it stayed away for a year, and we have all of these soft skill woke idiots chasing away projects. And did you see their average unionize? And their average pay was something like 110,000. That was the average pay for these people.
That's ridiculous.
To chase away freaking, and that's a good pay for, most of these people are young, single. That's good, solid pay for New York City area.
Yeah, here we go. Tug, 100K. Cecil, I think, is on 160K from what I can remember.
He's way up there.
And Tug's already on like 50, 60K on his second campaign. That's run. Jesus Christ. Ridiculous. These people are morons. Morons.
But they're connected in media, so that Camilla Zong
Oh,
is going to get snapped up by Google or Microsoft because she's she's a woke hero in tech.
that's great. I'm sure she can lose them money as well.
She can lose any number of companies millions of dollars. Don't test her.
She'll do it.
She'll have the first
She'll do
$1 billion loss if freaking Tesla hires her.
Black Tiger 001 with 10 Canadian dollars. Got Ironsight 2 a few days back. Don't have any weapons, Zach. Oh, I need to talk to you about something about that. You're getting finger guns later today. Boom, boom. You, EVS, Az, and Gary have convinced me to start a channel working on my comic, story, and art. Excellent.
Cool.
I watched a video of yours a couple of days ago. I think that's how a lot of these stories have started. And there was a Nintendo Switch by their Einsight's Two Psychos. And there was a knife point sticking out.
Yeah.
And you couldn't make the association. And
I didn't make it. And everyone in the comments are like, Switchblade. I'm like,
Switchblade. Switch. Unbelievable.
I don't know.
I know that you have OCD. I know that you have OCD. There were certain things. I don't have consistent.
You're just screaming it at the while I was like, just Switchblade.
Just say it. Say it. Make the association. Come on, you can do it. You've said switch. You've said knife. Not like, think about it. Think about it. And then he moved on. And I was just like,
blade and knife. I was like, I've been doing a lot of early '90s stuff, and I was looking up, so and so Psylocke. She has her psionic knife, and then the person will leave and start their own character who has a psionic blade. I'm like, you really don't have to change much to not get sued.
No. Well, I mean, when I saw Black Panther for the first time, I was like, how is that not Batman?
Well, then then people are talking about how the first Batman story was like just tracing over images from a shadow comic, and like the whole industry is built on changing 10% of something and then calling it your own thing. I think
a lot of people could say a lot of things about Bob Kane. When it comes down to it, a lot of things could be said about that man. I'm just glad that Bill Finger's getting credit now.
My philosophy on stuff like that is you can say, oh, you ripped off this and that, but a million people ripped off Shadow. And Batman was actually successful. A million people rip off this and that. So I feel even in it's like rap. You take all these old songs, you remix them, to me, unless it's the exact same thing, it's a new creation.
Look, it wouldn't be around for 80 plus years. Same with Superman. And Superman is one of these characters which they constantly refer to as problematic because it's so powerful, and yet he stood the test of time. But there again, Brian Michael Bendis is trying his hardest to fuck that one up as well.
I can't imagine being a Superman fan. I'm not a DC guy, but I saw all of your excitement with the previous version, especially Yellow Flash. He loves that. And then Brian Michael Bendis says, I've got the drizzling shits and my toilet is stopped up. Where can I put these drizzling shits? And DC's like, what about our Superman line?
They got Dan Jurgens back on Action Comics for Rebirth. It was awesome. It got me back into Superman for the first time in a while. I was excited. I was loving the storyline. The first arc with Doomsday and Wonder Woman was incredible. And I was all on board. And I stayed on board, and then Brian Michael fucking Bendis came along, and now it's selling 30,000, and it's just like, fuck you, Bendis. I don't like his relationship with Lois Lane. Let's get rid of that. I don't like his little kid. I want him to be older. Let's just get rid of that. And it's just like, you fucking asshole.
In the Navy and Marine Corps in America, there's this thing called request mass, and request mass is if your own chain of command is not responding to something that's serious, you can go around them. You can go to their boss's boss's boss. Well, you're supposed to step it up. You can go around and like, hey, this is a real problem, and it's affecting morale. It's affecting safety, and you're allowed to go, and you can't get in trouble for that. Can you imagine if there was a request mast where Dan Jurgens can say, "These are my sales.
Yeah,
these are Brian Michael Bentz's sales. I'm not saying hire me back. I'm just saying, do you want to do
hire me
something
back
about this?"
I'm not saying hire me back, but hire me back. It's heartbreaking for me. It really is, because I started reading the Bendis run, and again, I'm not trying to be cruel, but it's garbage. It's garbage. He just doesn't seem to have a clue who Superman is, whatsoever. He doesn't. Again, it's another person that likes to shit all over the family unit, and that was probably one of the
that
strongest
stuff with
aspects.
Superman's dad, and that was literally just humiliating the character. She's like, your dad's more of a man than you are, so I'm gonna go live with him. Like, and your son is gonna too. And then just Superman was just crying.
Well, he probably spoke to Tom King a lot. And I'm surprised they didn't have a Batman Superman crossover where they just cried together for a whole,
Well, do you remember when they were doing the Bachelor and Bachelorette party? Did you ever read those?
For Batman?
Yeah. So Catwoman and the gals went to a strip club.
Oh yeah.
Batman and Superman went fishing in a pocket dimension.
Yeah, didn't Amanda Connor do the cover for that?
Yeah, so the men have to. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how.
But you can't have the men go to a strip bar.
They can't go to a strip club
because they're not allowed to. The male gaze is bad, but the female gaze is fine.
The funniest thing is to go to those sites like the Mary Sue, and
no, it's not fun.
They'll have articles about. Somebody on Twitter will be like, "This is Harley Quinn when directed by a man," and then show they'll do a freeze frame where she was changing her shirt, and you can see her
all around Twitter at the moment. It's going,
yeah.
and I've been playing the game today. I did it with Christian Bale. Critical Drinkers done it with Chris Pine. Yeah, it's such an easy, pathetic game to play.
It's a ridiculous thing. And then on one of their other articles, there's another meme going around where they show a fit guy and it says, "Men, why don't you look like this?" And it's like there's nothing, there's no actual philosophy. These people are just idiots who like
women. Why don't you look like this?
Oh,
the thing is, though, but the thing is, you come off the internet, you come off social media, and you go out into the real world, and men and women are normal.
Oh yeah.
It's
That's
just
one of my favorite things
crazy
of having a business is you have these meetings and it's all just dates and times and monies and none of this silliness from comics infects like distribution, production, printing, all that other stuff. It's just a normal industry. My printer didn't even shut down during the freaking pandemic.
No. When I was going to my local shop to get supplies, magazines were there every day. Newspapers were there every day.
Amazing that
comics,
newspapers, and magazines can get to every convenience store in America. There's
I live like in the middle of nowhere. I live in the middle of fucking nowhere with amazing internet, which is really weird. But
that happens sometimes. They build up. They're building it up for 20 years from now. So you are living the sweet life right now. You have more bandwidth than you know what to do with.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, they were there every day. But Diamond couldn't distribute comics for some reason. Oh, the reason is he got no cash flow. Oh,
immediately, immediate collapse.
But good news, they've extended their credit with the bank. That's going to sell.
Did you see when they sent everything out the damaged books for their first books in 2 months?
I had comic book shops email me pictures, and they were broken. They were like bent. The boxes were a fucking disaster. It looked like Amazon had shipped them a roll of fucking toilet roll, and they just put that brown paper around. But it's not. It's comics, and if you just put shit like that around, they wobble all over the place and they get damaged. So I just had these comic shops like email me, say, here's some images of my first delivery from Diamond, and it was just bent comic, beat
The
up
letter
box.
was bent. The letter from the president was dog-eared. Like, what are you doing?
I had a spine bent, corners bent. It was a joke. And then he had, of course, Sly Johnston going, but this comic book owner said, yes, my comic shop had a big box of shit, but somebody bought a Harley Quinn comic, so everything's okay.
How is Rich viewed in the UK?
Nobody. An absolute nobody.
I still can't figure him out. Everyone hates him, and yet he persists. Everybody hates him.
Some people thrive off that. They get a kick out of it.
I don't.
Or maybe he just wants to be on the right side of history.
No, because he's always just laughing, and it really is a Joker thing. He just wants to see the world burn. But I was thinking in the local comic scene, like, how is he held?
Nobody knows who the fuck he is.
Okay.
No, literally, it's not. Do
you think he's a bigger deal in America than he is in the UK?
Oh yeah, without doubt, yeah.
That's what I actually heard about that. What was the guy? Jeffries. They go, he's nothing. And the freaking. They go, in Australia, he plays at a nightclub and people don't stop talking. You know what I mean? He's just the guy over in the corner. It's like, you idiots made him a star. It's like, we didn't really make him a star. We gave him a chance and he failed. But they're like, oh yeah. I actually learned
mainstream comics legitimized him.
Well, I actually learned some
going after you.
Oh, that was a disaster. But I mean, on his part, he completely failed in it. And then, like a year later, a guy did a secret tape recorder and proved, how he mixes stuff up. So he was gone shortly over that. But yeah, Australians are like, dude, we all hated him. We couldn't believe when he got a career in America. Like, he's nothing here.
It happens. But the question will be, what's he going to do when AT&T shut down DC, and what's he going to do when Marvel just burns out of its own? It burns down because of its own internet gas.
I'm still kind of evolving what I think is going to happen. Last year I was describing a shrunken industry, which was basically DC just doing Black Label and YA books that go to schools, and Marvel doing a shrunken line. But having my experience going to a comic book stores yesterday and having it be miserable, and now seeing that they're not going to be up to full speed for like another year, all bets are off. Yeah, I can see them being shut down and just saying, coronavirus.
Well, I mean, AT&T have shown intent with the Snyder Cut release next year. They've shown intent that, okay, we've got a thirsty audience for this. This is an opportunity to make money. We need money, and AT&T need money, and so they're running with this one. If DC isn't cutting the mustard, they're gonna ditch it. It is gonna get ditched, and they will just farm the IP out.
Yeah,
and then because they are clearly open to what the fan base is looking at, I legitimately would not be surprised if AT&T said, look at the people on crowdfunding making money. Let's approach some of those people and see if they'll come on board. Not crowdfund, but come on board and write, we dangle a license in front of them. Could be an attractive process.
They should just off. It would be best to do crowdfund with people who know how to crowdfund. I mean, you look at Sean Gordon Murphy; he's doing, he's probably going to do 300,000 on, honestly, a character that people really don't like very much. I think you said the same thing. I think you said, I'm going to buy it for the art. I bought it for the art. The story looks stupid as hell.
I've still not committed yet, and it's just like,
oh yeah, you said you were still thinking about it, right?
It's just not. I mean, I like Sean Gordon Murphy. I think White Knight is unbelievable. The first White Knight was amazing.
Yeah.
there was that panel. I think you got emotional at the same panel that I did when he's given a speech about the reason why I do this is not because of my parents. It's because I hope that I can leave Gotham in a state that when you grow older, you can take off the masks. And I was reading that like, you know, it's like, I was like, oh my God, he just hit me right in the feels, because the whole thing had been so good. And then he had that moment, then it was just like, oh my God, that was absolutely amazing. And then I've just received part 8 because it was delayed because of COVID, and part 8 just arrived. And I can't read miniseries book by book. I gotta read them in one sitting. It drives me mad. That's another one of my OCDs. And so I've yet to read the second one, but I've seen his characters for plot holes, and it's just like I wanna like, but and there's a kind of interesting maybe concept. I'm not sure.
It's an art book. I bought it. I bought an art book from someone who seemed pretty nice. That's how I'm justifying. I think I think he lost 100,000 just from not having a very cool. I was saying, just make it simple. It's a Batman who drives a car and he runs down criminals. Just you like cars. You did Batman. Make it something similar. But
I think he lost people with his video, his portrait video. I think he showed way too much of his hand, and
well, he was overconfident.
Really, really overprojected what he thought his worth could be.
Yeah, that was a big. So I don't know. I'm sure that is Babe Ruth famous and.
I know who Babe Ruth is.
Yeah. So Babe Ruth had a thing where he would point to where he was going to hit the ball. And you don't do that in crowdfunding. What did they say? It's a bad look. It's a bad look. You don't say it. You got to be humble. You got to be humble because you're new here. You're new here, and it's a different environment. And one of the conceits is, Brian Pulido. He's always successful. But I talk to the people. They go every time he says there's no stretch goals, and then he announces them, and we get excited. And then we meet him, and we get excited. Everyone knows there's going to be a bookmark, like there wasn't going to be a bookmark. But we're playing. It's a fun thing. You play. You don't just say I'm going to make 500,000 because then you don't make 500,000 because you said you were going to do it, and you were too cocky, and I don't know if he was cocky, but that's not how you play the game. You don't play the game like that.
But another thing is he's still mainstream as well. And people who are purchasing on Indiegogo are, they're kind of not necessarily distancing self from mainstream, but they're coming over to Indiegogo because mainstream isn't giving them what they want, and the way that mainstream is treating them as a customer, which is very important. And Sean's playing both sides of the fence. And so that's going to be difficult for some people to reconcile, because they're going to be, is he just here for the sly cash, for the sly buck, or is he?
I don't know if
serious about this.
He's tracking for 300,000.
Yeah,
which is very good. The problem is, I think he's actually, after he pays everything, he's going to make less than he did at DC, and he came to make more than he made at DC. I think overconfidence cost him 100,000. I think a lame characters cost him 100,000, and I think, like you said, playing both sides, giving up on the Doug Tenopple cover, that probably cost him another 100,000 too.
Yes. Yeah. Regardless of how people, some people might think of Doug Tenopple and whatnot. That backing out, that sort of capitulation, especially. Look.
When Mike Mignola didn't a week later.
I would have told Tess Fowler go fuck herself, personally. But this is he's playing. He's a restrained person, but you don't turn around to somebody who's making bank, selling copies, and telling them what to do when you can't do fucking shit.
Oh, yeah, it's.
You got to know your fucking place.
When I explain this industry to people who are not knowledgeable, just fellow business people, one of the most interesting things I've found about becoming a business person is business people help each other out. I know in TV they're all conniving and trying to destroy each other, but they'll just be like, "Hey, let me help you out." I'm like, "You're not even in my field. Like, you do something different." He goes, "Yeah, but I can see something you're doing," and they just kind of help each other out. And yeah,
Yeah, it's if Sean Gordon Murphy left DC tomorrow, just for whatever reason, maybe even just to play with cars for the rest of his life, that would be a loss to DC.
yes, definitely.
That would be a huge loss to DC, and Sean would be fine. He will be absolutely fine with whatever he does from there on in. And so the way that this, it angers me, because if I just think to myself, if I got into that company, it would literally be a fucking culling. I would have a fucking baseball bat, and they would be SEALs to me, and I would be going around doing the fucking annual culling.
I was
just
thinking
getting
of
rid of the fucking shite.
Capone from Untouchables, but you had to go that extra yard and make it baby seals. Oh my
Half
god!
of baby seals are cute. Half of baby seals are cute, but no, I mean, we're talking. If you're gonna cull, you gotta say how you gotta say it as it is, and that's how you cull something. But the amount of chaff that you can get fucking rid of, and actually, be like, you fuck off, Chuck, please come back. You fuck off, Graham, please come back. You know what I mean? Kelly Jones, can we move you onto something that's way above what you're doing now, please? Because your talent is obscene. So
I would make it simpler. I would shut down and then reopen, and then the talent is always back in. Yeah, then it's just easier. We're not DC. We're DC Boutique, and we're a smaller company.
Yeah.
And then people can go, well, that's why they didn't hire me, because they only got a couple spots. No, it's because you're trash. We could have, if you were good, you would have gotten back in. That's why I said Marvel should move to the West Coast. It's an easy way to cut all of your trash. Oh, hey, we actually have a job, but we don't have a moving stipend for you. You got to pay your own moving. They're like, well, I can't afford it. I go, oh, we really
shame. Sorry. Oh well. Next time.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh yeah. So well done, Black Tiger. Chrononaut with a $2 super chat. The basics of Karenology 101. Well, the comic book industry is fucking Karen right now, run by a bunch of Karens. I still can't get over the sheer fucking hubris, as we like to say, of Sama Amonot basically creating herself and trying to make herself one of the prominent characters in Marvel. It's hilarious.
To me, it's not her; it's who hired her.
I think it's who she wants to be. That's her when she was a teenager, and that's the teenage her that she wanted to be. The one that put people in prison for doing nothing while playing the victim. What? Somebody's here. Green laser. Sweet Jesus, that's not the baby seals. They've all got a face. They've all got different faces. Trust me. Jason Stevens with 50 Hong Kong dollars. I think maybe. Lol at the experimental internet gas and safe space snowflake supporters. Are there actually any supporters of that? I mean, legitimate supporters. I'm not talking about.
Yeah, you said Tom King got bothered.
Oh, Tom King, but do you really think Tom King is looking at that and thinking this is quality?
Oh yeah,
this is quality. No, he's looking at it going, "Fuck me, what am I doing in this fucking industry?" That's what he's really thinking. I wish I was back in the CIA, crying in the cupboard. Yotam Darkstar with a $1.50 phallic unicorn. We got a thing about phallic unicorns here, by the way. Thank you very much indeed. G Virus with a $20 super chat. Hail Az and your boy Zack. Zack, you should make a He-Man and She-Ra comic and destroy the SJW version, proving that superior comic writers that focus on good story and entertainment are better than the SJW agenda hacks.
I've got a project it's just starting. It's a secret project, and it does have aspects of kind of not like that meta thing, but it is kind of like, a old school He-Man type of hero.
I like that. I did a bagging and boarding and chatting and stuff stream with Gary and Nerdrotic on Tuesday, and I said to him, when I got into comics, I was just DC. I've just been DC centric, and I just sort of said I wish I'd been a bit more open minded to other stuff, because I probably would have bought the shit out of stuff like Conan and Red Sonja and things like that. Because I love the fantasy genre as well. But I was just like, I'm the DC. I got to buy my DC comics because I got tribal. Everyone got tribal. Yeah, I'd like to read. That's why I got Bladeable, because I just want to read like a fantasy type of book. Mike Wynn with a £5 super chat. I read Marvel DC in the 80s. The male hero was masculine and heroic. The female hero was powerful and sexy, showing a bit of skin. What is wrong with that? What's wrong with that, Richard?
Nothing at all.
Okay, Richard is a white supremacist bigot, everyone, and he doesn't speak for me. It's problematic. That's what it is. It's ridiculous, isn't it? That is 2003. That's 2003 Huntress. And now she's wearing a fucking bin liner. You can barely see her face. She's almost in a burqa. That is modern day Huntress. Yeah, she's in like a raincoat with galoshes and a ghillie. It's just fucking ridiculous, man. There's nothing wrong with it at all. There's nothing wrong with it. We just live in a puritanical age at the moment where people are hypocritical about what you're allowed to like as a male, while at the same time dripping at the crotch whenever Henry Cavill comes on the TV. Like a thirsty bitch. G-Virus with a $5 super chat. Zack, the reason why you feel bad and guilty for breaking the rules is because you still have a heart and soul. Do you still have a heart and soul left after all of this?
I think so, yes.
I think if you've got any feelings, of course you've got a soul. It's ridiculous. You just made fun of a few fucking comics.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy to the normal person, to the person outside. Because, like I said, I was just a person buying comics. Came across this channel because of EVS, and it was just some guy ripping the shit out of what was fucking trash. Trash. Not good comics and having, like, if you're doing it with Hush, I'd be like, fuck off, mate. You know? Fuck off. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This was bona fide trash on page. Let's try and get him to kill himself. Fucking weirdos. Crazy. Project 17 with a £2 super chat. Mod appreciation time. Two-tone. Purple Lady. Thank you, mods. You have been wonderful. What if Marvel did move to Portland? Then what would the Portland Mafia become? Would it become the Portland Supreme First Order? I don't know. Doesn't Sean Gordon Murphy live in Portland?
No, he's I mean, not to be that nosy, but it says Portland, Maine. It's a different Portland on it.
Okay. I don't know my American geography.
Indiegogo, I believe.
I was like, maybe that's why he's towing the line, because he doesn't want to wake up with a horse's head next to him. Oh, dear God. Justin Carr with a £2 super chat. Zack's voice is high. Oh. Has he found Wade's fleshlight? Oh. Has Wade got a fleshlight? No comment? I'll tell us a no comment, Zach.
I don't know.
Doesn't know anything about Wade's fleshlights. Okay. Declan Lyons with a €5 super chat. Zach has a rare talent. That was the worst British accent that I could have actually identified as British. I tell you what, I've picked up something from your channel. Absolutely. I can't stop doing the scoozies and woozies and
Oh,
poozies.
jeez.
I can't stop
That's
it.
how it's how they write, and this is how they look at women. They're like, we want a woman audience. How should we write? Let's write like they're baby-brained imbeciles. They love that shit. Then they call other people sexist. You're the sexist. You write to adult women as if they're 4-year-olds.
But you talk to them like they talk. They write the way that they talk to people, and they'll be all over you. They'll be all over you. Don't talk to me like that. Don't condescend me. Don't patronize me. Don't demean me. But there is a trick. That was a trick because nobody's actually buying their shit. So there was a trick question there. Dean Krantz with a $5 super chat. Zack Semper Fi. I was H311 back in the Gulf War. I stopped reading comics when they changed Captain America. I will buy yours, brother.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Boom. Yeah. Sorry to bring this up, but I feel I have to. You served your country. It was something that I have a huge appreciation for people that serve, simply because I know that I couldn't. I don't have the fortitude or the courage or whatever it is. I couldn't do what those people do who serve. So I think it's, I really do want to thank you for your service, regardless of what country you're in. Well, unless it's Nazi Germany, and then probably not so much. But it's a huge thing to be able to do that. What does it fucking feel like when you get told by somebody in the comics industry, I wish you got fucking killed by an IED?
It's shocking. I mean, this is, like I said, the reaction is something that nobody has ever had to go through before. They have had to go through it since. But there were no holds barred. It was absolutely insane. And if you remember, this kind of got memory hold a little bit. But the reaction when that person who had a book coming out from Image, they said the industry consensus was, it doesn't matter what someone says, it matters what's in the book. That consensus was immediately reversed a week later with Jawbreakers. But we were told, hey, that's just someone saying something stupid. Now, there actually has been a stealth that person has never gotten any work since then. So they might have even that was embarrassing to them. It was so over the top. But there was no castigation of that person at all. It was just, they were just completely silent about that.
So, roasting a comic book, hope he dies from an IED. I think there's a slight imbalance there. A slight imbalance then. Absolutely, I can't even. My head can't even. I've said in previous podcasts or videos, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I wouldn't, I couldn't even wish that on my worst enemy.
Well, actually, I got something interesting. Here we go. Let me, if you give you just a second.
Sure. Yeah.
See if I can get my initial email.
I'll quickly go through a super chat while you're doing that then.
Okay.
Swinging Cod with a $5 super chat. Zack, did you get a manager for the new Twitter account, or have you returned to the hell that Twitter is? Is that the Splatter?
Oh, no, I don't have. I haven't been on Twitter since what do you call it, 2018. So I found this is actually, if you got time, this might be interesting.
Sure. Yeah. Go for it.
So let me look at these dates. Okay, so I actually wrote to Eric Stevenson, the publisher of Twitter. Let me say that all again. I wrote to Eric Stevenson, the publisher of Image Comics, because someone who had an Image comic said that. And so I wrote on March 24th of 2018. Hello, I would like to know what will be Image Comics' public reaction to Michelle Perez repeatedly wishing that I had died by IED in Afghanistan. And it went on. I basically just recounted the whole situation. And then another one I wrote a couple days later. Image Comics partner, because that's Michelle Perez threatened to make me a quadriplegic. Are you taking any responsibility for your business partner? So the thing that I actually get angry at myself for is I was way more reasonable with people than they remotely deserved.
It's because you.
I actually remember writing a Salter a couple of emails. That was like nothing. I was like, they're out of Triscuits at the store, and I write to the freaking regional manager.
You Karen'd.
Yeah. So he wrote back a day later. He says, and it's just like, it's like nothing happened. He's like, based upon your requests and public statements, you have a misunderstanding as to the relationship between Image and its creators. So he just basically said she's not an employee.
She's freelance.
Yeah. So it's still like, and it's like, oh, she's not an employee. So
the Marvel excuse. Well, the current mainstream excuse. They're freelance.
Yeah, so the basis for your suggestions online all rest upon a false premise as to the legal relationship between Image and its creators, that Image terminate a creator if they were an employee, or that creators act as spokesmen with a morals clause. Yeah, just completely bloodless. The statements that you complain of were not published or made by Image. Image did not sponsor them, control them, endorse them, or ratify them. Creators speak for themselves and entirely own their published works. Image, of course, cannot prevent anyone from referencing Image or its Twitter account in passing in a statement that a third party makes on their own behalf. Image wishes you well. Well, obviously they don't. I hate when they do that little shit at the end.
Yeah,
but yeah, so the thing is that when I was given this, I go, okay, fine. This is Eric Stevenson. He's been in the industry for 20 years. He's the publisher of Image. It's the number 3 company in the industry. This must be the industry standard. As long as I don't say something, rude in the comics that somewhat offends someone, this is the industry standard. If it's not in the book, it doesn't matter. And what is it? It was more than a couple weeks. It was about a month or so. But then we found out, for me, the standard was completely the opposite. Man, am I glad I saved this email.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Somebody said someone in the chat said it's a sickness. There you go, boosh. There is a sickness for sure, and it's not from this side of the fence. It's from the other side of the fence is where the sickness is. Just imagine going from your comic's a bit shit. It wasn't even hers. Someone else's comic's a bit shit. To that. Fucking nuts. Get some help, you fucking crazy bitch. Robert Levito with a $1.50 phallic unicorn. There's another phallic unicorn. Ascension Cinema with a $2 super chat. I made the Cyberfrog trailer. Emailing Zack now.
I literally do you remember when you asked me a question? I was distracted. I go, oh, what? I was answering that guy's email. By the time he put that super chat, he emailed me, and then I answered it. And yeah,
good. Yeah, I saw his trailer. It was excellent. I thought your trailer for Cyberfrog was fantastic, dude. I really did. I loved it. Black Tiger 001 with 2 Canadian Expendables Crossroads contract. Crossroads Demon. You have to barter. You make a barter. You get your heart's desire, and in return, you get 10 years of your heart's desire, and then your soul gets dragged to hell. That's just an extra for you there. I watch too much Supernatural. Polly Mimi's Minion with a $5 super chat. Hey, Az and Zach. Congratulations, Zach, on your success with your comics. It's been pretty huge. I'd say just a little bit shy of $1.4 million since your first campaign.
Yeah, it's incredible. I appreciate everyone who's bought my books and just working to get the books out on time, high quality, improve delivery. I'm actually using a new printer from now on. to get even better quality books, and also change the distributor. We're trying to do a deal where my last distributor had like a ridiculous fee for processing the spreadsheet. So it didn't make sense to like send stuff out monthly. You're like, geez. So I'm talking to some new people, and I'm like, so negotiating with them. It's like the deal is I want to fulfill like every month. So if someone all of a sudden discovers, whatever Expendables, you're gonna that fulfill even after the initial, fulfillment. It shouldn't be more than a month before you get your new one. Whereas right now, I've had to let them stack up for a couple months because that processing fee is so high.
I gotta say though, when you come on saying, "Hey, folks, I'm shipping," consider I'm a UK resident. Your books are always the first.
So I don't know what the amazing negotiations United States and UK made. I don't know if that's how we got the War of 1812 to stop, but that stuff will get to the UK before it will get to the Midwest. It is absolutely
crazy
and perfect. I love your Royal Mail so much.
It's good. It is good. If everyone complains, but they're excellent. My personal postman is a lovely guy as well. Yeah, we got great delivery drivers here in the UK, and yeah, it's just every time you say, "Hey, I'm fulfilling now," it's like 2 days later, I'll get the book in the post.
Exactly. And then what happens is I show the pictures, and then people are like, "I'm in Nebraska. What the hell?" I'm like,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
This is how time.
Guy from Australia's got it, for fuck's sake. But it's like when sorry, EVS, I'm going to throw you under the bus now. When Cyberfrog was being rolled out, it's like started in September. I didn't get mine till like end of December. It's like 28th of December or something. Just that 1 day gap that you get in the Christmas period where things are just normal for a little bit of a day. It arrived then.
Yeah, that happened with Iron Sights. I forgot. I let the Christmas holiday sneak up on us, and then I tried to fulfill during December, and that sucked.
Yeah, I went September, October, November, 4 months until. And then when EVS had contacted us about something, he's like, "Oh, thanks, I think he saw a video by. He's like, "Oh, thanks for the video," and then then he put, "Oh, did your comic book arrive?" Because I sent like 2 messages. Which one responded? Anyway, let's go on to another good one. SBDA 242 with 25 Swedish krona. Is Jawbreakers Grand Bazaar a solid jumping on point?
Yeah, absolutely. It's also kind of a change. In the last 2 books, they would carry over from one book to the next. And so people will be like, you started the story in the other book. This one, the main story is done in one. And then it has a backup story that's done in one. So it's a perfect jumping on point.
Yeah, it's Grand Bazaar is a prequel. So
and it shows how everyone meets. And so it's the perfect place to jump on.
So yeah, it's the absolute, yeah. And then you could pick up the next 2, and you'd be, I know these characters, because the first Drill Breakers that I read, I bet you've heard this before, and I'm probably going to drive you crazy by saying it. I was very confused with their powers, how their powers operated, and then in the second book, it was just like, it's very succinct that this person kind of does this, and this person does this, and this person.
Yeah, that was the feedback. That's what you were talking about, a couple hours ago. It's like, I was hoping people would take my feedback and improve the stories, and all they decided is, let's just try to get the guy saying that to kill himself. It's a lot easier just to improve your book than to try to get a stranger to kill themselves. You're unsuccessful. And so I was able to listen to people, and they say, we feel like you're not explaining. And they offered some suggestions on how to change it, and I didn't use their exact suggestions on how to do it. They wanted like a Marvel style, like Silkworm, leader. Psionic, energy projection. I'd rather have someone else. It's like, hey, Silkworm, when are you going to freaking do, this? And then you get his name and you understand what he's saying.
No, the second book very organically put it in. It was when it came with blade hands, when he was actually doing the thing, and it was like, when his blades do this, it summons the ninjas from his clan, and so it was a very organic thing that flowed with the pace of the book, as opposed to This is so and so, and they do so and so. So I was kind of like, with the second book, I was like, okay, the stuff that I hadn't worked out, it was done for me there. It was like, okay, cool, I'm all right. I know where we are now. But yeah, it's amazing when you just a little bit of feedback and you don't go, hey customer, fuck off. Oh yeah, okay, I'll take that into consideration. Thank you.
I'll fuck right off of this whole hobby. How about that one?
Yeah, just crazy.
It's like I went into the store yesterday. They say it's mandatory to use their antibacterial stuff, and just in my head I was like, okay, 50% of the germs are on the door, and the other 50% are on the handle to that thing. But like they said mandatory, it's like it's actually not mandatory because I can just leave out of the door right now.
Yeah. So. What can you do? Nightmare X123 with a $2 super chat. Is there a Jawbreakers 2 Electric Boogaloo? Well, there's a Jawbreakers 2, but it's not Electric Boogaloo.
And the other thing about the numbering is that, like, I actually kind of would have to use numbering, but I also tell things out of order, so it wouldn't make sense if I would have called, God King Jawbreakers 2 and then Jawbreakers 3 takes so.
Well, God King would have been Jawbreakers 3.
Yeah, but then
then
I'll do another story before this one, and then it would all shift. And then I was like, what if I did it like named it by the year, but then these things take place in the past and also the future. So it's going to be it's like when you watch the Rambo movies and at some point you just have to memorize what goes with what. Or the Mad Max movies, and that's even more impossible to to tell from the names what order everything goes in.
Yeah, or how long's gone between what and where and why.
Yeah.
It's all gravy though. So God King is the second one, but technically the third. The Gay Rascal with a €5.50 super chat. Daniel Kibblesmith, famous author of Karen Has Two Mummies. Daniel Kibblesmith wrote about gay Santa Claus, didn't he?
Yeah.
Fuck me. Can we just let kids have the chance to be kids, please?
Well,
is that okay?
I wasn't even thinking about them. I was like, can you also have black people and gay people be people and not just pawns?
Oh, they can't. No, they're trophies.
Career to a little box to step on to elevate yourself, or a back scratcher to get that one spot. I mean, they use minorities like props. That's what they are. They are object props.
I'm Zach. I do apologize, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to bring you to task. I said, I enjoyed this. I was actually disappointed about one thing. I didn't see a single gay Asian in this border town. I didn't see a single woman in a burqa at school. And you need to do better.
They do better. He's referencing what is the most recent? It was the Aquaman one, right?
The Aquaman.
It's in a border town.
My water or something.
Yeah, New Mexico, and they have like the person in front. It's like a gay Asian kid and a girl in a burqa, and then they did the same thing with Eric Esquivel's border town. But no, I live in a border town. I will sometimes go days without seeing a white person. So it's based on living in a border town. So everyone is Mexican, Mexican American, pretty much everyone except for Woods, who's white.
Yeah. I did enjoy that. It was a good read. I was actually very surprised. I really did enjoy that. Vasin Kassi, maybe. I say maybe when I totally fuck up a name, by the way. With €2 super chat. Please yell some more. I don't think Zach wants me to yell at him.
Yours is scary. Yours does the one where it actually starts to crack at like the top of it. You know that one?
Well, there's the loud voice. I'm not going to go there, but there's the loud voice, which is like the authoritative, master's voice. And then there's when I actually get fucking mad.
I've heard that one maybe I think 2 or 3 times, and every time it's kind of shocking because you're don't
watch the
this loud, and then you're like, it's like a natural reaction. It's like, what's happening?
It was the which one was it? It was the just kind of a quick look.
I only watch the one
Coward,
you talk about.
Coward, the Coward CBR website one. Don't watch that video then.
What is that one?
The Coward CBR deletes Captain America hit piece.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Oh boy.
So I lose. I fucking lose it.
And I also listen to your stuff at the park, so it's so peaceful and like birds are tweeting, and then you're like, you start like ah. But CBR, they're a real little pill, as my mom would say. They actually 2
I
years
call them a cunt.
outlaw. You were not allowed to discuss Jawbreakers at all on their forum. It's just a subject. But then they can still write hit pieces on me. But then you can't even discuss their hit piece on their comments in their forums. I think they eventually got rid of everything. But yeah, they're completely just corrupt.
I'm not even a Marvel guy. You know, I'm a DC guy. That's where my proclivity has been. But I just got so mad. I got so mad. But it's not just because of the Captain America hit piece thing, but it's the fact it came out on Memorial Day, and it is just such a complete and utter disrespect to people who served, people who died in combat. And you know that the person that put it up and the person at CBR that okayed it knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh yeah, it was.
So
hey, how can we bother patriotic people who support the military? Well, we're not going to do it directly, of course, but they know that the way that Captain America. The funny thing is, and I'm sure you even have a different perspective, but Captain America was not remotely the big deal he is until 9/11. In the 80s and 90s, he was generic adventure man. Especially in the 70s, he was. I remember, like, kind of laughing. I read his stuff. If you know Mark Grunwald, I liked his stuff. But when he left, I read some of the Mark Waid. It was okay. He was nothing compared to what he is now. And then I came back from my first deployment to Iraq, and then like he meant so much more to me afterwards. So they know what this was. They know that obviously he's not real, but they know he means so much to
the symbolic nature of him. Yeah. I actually get real angry, proper angry.
So I saw that, and I saw the little what he was trying, and I just quit in the middle. I go, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to ruin my day. I'm not going to let it happen.
Oh yeah, it was pissing on people. It was pissing on people from the second story of a building as they're walking past.
And the thing is, if you would have done that a week earlier, it would have just been a dumb Galaxy Brain hot take. Because it wasn't even tied to Memorial Day. It was just, let's shit on Captain America for no reason. But let's release it on Memorial Day to bother. Or what was it? Yeah, Memorial Day.
I reckon, Memorial Day's upcoming. Let me create an article that will shit on a patriotic character for that time. That's how I think it came about. But it's CBR, so they could have just had this article bought and paid for ages ago and just thought, oh, this will be the perfect time to put out our shitty Captain America hit piece on Memorial Day. Because we're set of cunts. So I'm not gonna yell at Richard. And I advise you not to watch that video. Jabilis Nuclei with a £2 super chat. The boys, dear Becky, are you excited? Yay or nay? The boys is great stuff. I love the boys.
I like the show. I wasn't really into the comic, but I like the show. All right, it's pretty good.
I love anything with Carl Urban in. Anyway, I'm in. Then I love Carl Urban. His Dread was incredible. I thought Dread was awesome. I love that film. Warren, Zack's just like, whatever. Warren with a $2 super chat. Did Zack get rid of that grandma comforter?
No, I'm on it right now. It's a little sweaty because I had to turn off the AC for this live stream so it wouldn't kill the audio. So yeah, I probably need to wash this thing.
David Osborne with a £2 super chat. Set up a bespoke comic funding system. You need the IP. You need the IP, David. That's the you need a concept and an idea. That's the first thing that you need before anything else. And then you don't need to do that. I mean, it's right here with Indiegogo. It's right here with crowdfunding. You've got something, you can put that idea into practice. If you can fulfill, boom. Fair point.
Yeah, I'm with Indiegogo to the bitter end. They've helped me out immeasurably, and people said, "What would happen if you lost Indiegogo?" Well, it's like, I still got everyone's contact information for I can still just do direct email to them, so that's what I do. But Indiegogo is proven themselves as being apolitical and an actual business. They're just gonna do what their business is, not try to be a priest or something like that, or a what do you call it, moral advisor. They just do their job, and that's what a company is supposed to do.
Look, when a company starts to become the moral police, go fuck yourself. Just go fuck yourself. You have no right to tell me what I should think, what I should buy, how I should feel. So any company, doesn't matter what the company is, that wants to play moral police to me can just fuck off. That's it. In actual fact, I didn't know about this gatekeeper until pretty recently. And I actually had a Kickstarter campaign that I was supporting. And when I found out about this whole business with the gatekeeper, because I didn't realize that was actually going on. I just thought it was that Kickstarter had caused a bit of kerfuffle or something. And so you decided to move on to another platform. And I ended up actually canceling that Kickstarter when I found out.
Was it the Todd McFarlane?
No, it was I don't want to say what it is because it's not fair to the thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the Todd McFarlane. I didn't back it. I didn't back the Todd McFarlane. I couldn't. I found it. I thought it. I know, it's no shade on Todd McFarlane. I got nothing against Todd McFarlane, but I don't want to support Kickstarter. They can fuck off. They can just fuck right off. I can do without another toy. I've got plenty of toys. So yeah, I think there's a lot of residual customer that you're going to lose because of your stupid decisions. By becoming the moral police, you got no fucking right. Nobody's got the right. Nobody. Sorry. Semi-rant. But it just annoys me. It just annoys me. I mean, sorry, I'm getting into it now, Richard. I'm so sorry. But who are they? Who are they to say what you can and can't do, what you can and can't like,
well,
who you can and can't vote for?
Usually when you say who are they, it's a rhetorical question. You don't really know this person. If someone's walking down the street and they start telling you who are you to tell me?
Yeah.
You know who they are. They're awful people. So the worst people imaginable have decided that they're the morality police. No, I do not agree to this.
Yeah, and then you find out all kinds of things because it comes out. And they're just repugnant people. It's as if they're trying hard to compensate or to cover up stuff. But yeah, I mean, just looking at, I don't even have to mention names, but just looking at, your Portland mafia bunch and the surrounding people in that, absolutely repugnant people, just repugnant. I don't know how they human. I really just don't understand how they even human. We had that one. 3 streams with a $5 super chat. Zack, what unit in the army, brother, did you serve? Did you know a guy called Lily from Force, then MARSOC, MARSOC?
No, when I was in the Marines, I was never in, high speed, as they say it. I was just a regular grunt. So I was in Golf 2-5 in the Marine Corps, and then I was in Bravo Company 2-2 Infantry 1st ID in the Army, and then other, smaller units for shorter amounts of time.
Okay, chocolate. Hatch 450 SX with a $2 super chat. Sean Gordon Murphy ruined Batman, turned him into a socialist.
He did say some very socialist stuff in the second one. It just didn't make any sense at all.
I've yet to read the second one, but in the first one,
I won't ruin it. But it was kind of one you're like, sometimes you just have to realize that no character in a book can be smarter than the writer.
Yeah.
And you might have just hit the upper limit on Sean Gordon Murphy's understanding of economics. You're like, oh, that's wrong. And that means the character's wrong, but I'm going to let that one slide.
Yeah. The first one's certainly not. No, the first one's certainly not. But I've yet to read the second one. So, but I loved Sean Gordon Murphy's Batman. I loved his Pocket Universe. You know, I read it as a Pocket Universe book. I don't read it as a mainstream take on Batman. So you know, you can take that for what you will. And when you're playing with Pocket Universe characters, you can always. I don't have too many problems if you stray slightly and tweak certain things. Maybe if you turn them Asian and their butler gay and their sidekick black and a pussy, and their girlfriend vaguely ethnic and a bitch, and Jack Napier white, obviously. then yeah, maybe then. But I don't mind. I don't mind a few tweaks here or there. Steve Carter with a £5 super chat. Thank you, Az. This has been a great chat. Cheers to the mods. Great job. Thank you. Thank Richard for coming on.
Thank you very much.
People thought it was fake. I know a few people that thought.
Well, no, you were a little surprised, and you're like, "What's the deal?" And it's like, I just been listening to your stuff a lot. While I go to the park every day, so I listen to you and Cartoonist Kayfabe, and I know I'm not getting invited on their show, so I'll go on yours.
Fair enough. Well, I just realized, of course, because when I emailed you a few weeks ago, to see if you'd come on, and then when I emailed you again, when you replied, you said, oh, I didn't see that, but your name was different. And then it just dawned on me because I had to put the name Shiny McShine at the time.
Because, it sounded like
of Google Plus
baby food or something.
It was Google Plus because a few years ago, I don't know if you know the whole Google Plus fiasco.
Yeah.
But when Google Plus came around, they wanted you to put your docs on the Google Plus. They wanted you to have your real life name and address, and people just like, fuck off. And they were like, oh no, you've got to do it. You got to put a real name if you want to have the, and you've got to have it compulsory to have your Gmail. And so I refused. I tried to put character names that I had on MMOs. Wasn't working. The ID system was saying, this isn't a proper name. And I just remember watching the episode of The Simpsons where he says, it's like one where they're flying the fucking rocket into the sun. And he's just like, I'm a scientist. And he's like, what's your name? But no, I'm the scientist from Shine. And he's like, what's your real name? He's like, Shiny McShine. And so that just came into my brain. So I put Shiny for the first name and McShine for the second name. And it stuck. And it went, yes, that sounds like a real name. And I was like, winner. So that became my Google Plus real name. And now that Google Plus is defunct, they're just like, fuck it, put whatever you want. And I didn't realize. So I didn't realize, of course, I'm sending these emails and they're from Shiny fucking McShine. So when you said that, I was like, oh God, this guy must think I'm fucking Mickey Mouse. Well, I'm Mickey Mouse, but so I changed it. I changed it when he'd mentioned it, and I could put heel versus babyface.
No, what I thought it was is, and you probably get this too, there's these so-called influencers that they don't watch your channel. They just see you got a certain amount of subs. They're like, can you advertise our product? And like, what is this going to be? Clean the floor in the kitchen or whatever, delete.
Yeah. I get him all day, every day. I get literally every day. I'll have an email come through. Hey, we love your channel. Then it goes into a different font because then you go to the copy and paste. And it's just like, oh, fuck off. Which I had to do Raid Shadow Legends for the 58th time. God, fuck out of here. So I was like, oh, God. And then what was really weird is when I fired off the second, I'm revealing all the secrets here, folks. When I fired off the second email to you, I think it was like within 2 minutes, you replied. And in those 2 minutes, I actually sent a message to Ethan. I was like, Ethan, could you do me a little favor, please? Could you just tell Zack that I've sent him an email, and because I'd like to invite him to come onto the podcast. And then Ethan was just like, he's just getting so withdrawn with his podcasts. It's probably going to be hard. And then I was like, oh no, he's agreed. It's great. All within like a 2-minute period. It's like crazy. So yeah, so I was chuffed, but yeah, I felt really stupid when he went, coming up Shiny McShine. It's like, oh god. Fuck. Not a good first impression to make. Hi, I'm Shiny McShine. Do you want to come on my podcast and have a chat? Ramsey Video Games Recruit, big, I think maybe with a bigger name. No, Recruiter. There's an R that it cut off. With a £2 super chat. Here, have a couple of quid for having Richard C Meyers on. Thank you. It's been a privilege. G-Virus with a $20 super chat. Thank you very much. What angers me is, as someone who's worked so many jobs, if I ever treated customers badly, I'd be fired. Well, these nut jobs get away with this insanity. But then I was not stupid enough to sell my soul either. Well, this is the freelancer clause, isn't it? That we've kind of just gone through.
Well, no, they've even pulled that on employees. So, what's her name? That editor. I'm blanking on her name.
Heather Antos.
No, it was the other one that still works there.
Oh, Tess Fowler. Oh, Alana
Smith. So she politically discriminated as an employee, and I don't know. 1 or 2 years ago, I brought it up to Joe Quesada because he was trying to cancel me. And so I was like, what about this? He goes, well, she's been spoken to about that. It's like, it's still up. It literally said, it doesn't matter who you vote for. We're going to track who you vote for and remember it. Basically saying, we're not going to hire you if you vote for Trump. It was very open. It was very threatening. It's very unprofessional. It's not something you do on your Twitter that says Marvel editor in it. And nobody cares about random person named Alana. They're going to because you're Marvel. And that's putting that fear in them. So he just said, well, it was a while ago and she's been spoken to. Yeah. No, she hasn't. She got a high five.
Yeah. She got spoken to, and what was told to her was, good job. Good job. Keep it up. Fuck me. I can't wait for Marvel to burn. I can't wait.
Well, they put so much money into just churning out all the event variant cover, and now that's all stopped. These stores do not have money to buy 20 different covers. The events have been broken by a year. The first part came out in January. The next part comes out in December.
Spider-Woman 1, 27 variant covers.
And that was by the writer of Fantastic Four 2099. I gave her own series.
Oh, no. Oh, God. And it shipped 143,000. I wonder how much of that is rotting on shelves.
All of it. Just all of it.
Pretty much. I think it probably, with the variant covers, maybe sold...
Well, no, because I even covered it. We got to see I'm pretty sure we got to see what number 2 was. Those things always just plummet ridiculously on issue number 2.
Well, but again, though, this is I had Dan Frager on. Well, actually, I had him back on the other day. I was doing the streams and I was just mucking around with some models, and Dan was in the chat, so I invited him in, and we're chatting away. And I said to Dan, I said, you've sold 1,600 and something units of Black Flag. A Marvel writer sells 1,600 units of their comic. Are you equals? And Dan said, yeah, I would say that we were on parity. And I was like, no. I was like, you're not, because your 1,600 units is sold.
Yeah, to actual people.
To people, and that money And that 1,600 people, that it isn't even indicative of the number of copies sold, because they could have bought 2 copies, 3 copies. So that's the minimum amount of copies that you've sold. The other person is shipped, and we have no idea of the actual sales of it. You're not on parity. You're way ahead. You're way ahead. It's crazy. I love Dan Frager. He's a lovely man. He's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's just so likable, though, isn't he? Yeah, but it's the same with you. I mean, you sold a colossal amount of copies of Jawbreakers, and their sales, they're not shipped, they're not fudged. That's legitimate, actual minimum copies, and you'll know how many copies you shipped. Way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game. How'd you like Vagrant Queen, Zach? Any good? Okay, let's move on. Adam Wooford with a $2 super chat. Hey, Zach, you should do Black Scorpion. Interesting.
I don't know what that is. Is that like an 80s movie?
Imagine it's a character. Imagine it's a character. Black. Let's have a look. Black Scorpion. Oh, it says TV series. After her father is shot by a crooked district attorney, Angel City police detective Darcy Walker, great name, takes to the streets to dispense vigilante justice in the guise of Black Scorpion. Came out 2001. That looks pretty. Oh my god. Oh my, she looks like a hooker. She looks like a hooker. Yeah, I'd do that. Let me. Zach can carry on doing what he's doing. I'll take Black Scorpion. I'll take it off your hands. Project 17 for a £2 super chat says, we support our vets. Amen. Amen. I have such an disgust for people who mistreat veterans. They don't know how lucky they are and what freedoms were allowed because of them. Without blowing smoke, but it's true. Shorty with a £2 super chat. Hi, Richard C Meyer. I can't wait for Pandemic. Hell as. There's a lot of people, like I said, including myself earlier. I'm very interested to see the end.
Oh yeah, it's real good. And like I said, it got better with actually taking a little bit more time. So that thing's ready to go. Yeah.
It's just something about the campaign. Just immediately, I thought it really sounds good conceptually, and the way that it was set up. Everything about the campaign just really resonated with me, and I pushed it on a couple of other streams as well. I was telling people, sign up to this Pandemic malarkey because this sounds good. Christina Venner with a £5 super chat. Just chucking this your way for the great stream, great guests, and having great mods. I've always got great mods. My mods are amazing. Thank you, mods, again. But you're awesome. View of Uranus with a $5 super chat. Zach, is there a public IP you have your eye on? You were talking about properties coming up last year.
Yeah, there's some things I'm looking at for probably this year and next year. Definitely.
Okay, but obviously you're not going to give anything away because you don't want to get gazumped.
Yeah.
I went for an IP recently. I wanted to get an IP. There was an IP that I was after.
What was it?
And I'm not going to say just in case. But I identified the people that had it. I contacted the company. I managed to get through and speak to somebody on the phone. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's... yeah, we can help you with that. This is the person that you need to email. Email her. And she'll give you all the, details. Like, fantastic. Really wanted this IP. And so I sent her this email. And then about 2-3 weeks later, I get an email back saying, it's not up for grabs, bye. literally like a one-line fuck off. Thanks.
I was actually going after a license in the UK, Modesty Blaze, like 6 years ago. And the guy who created it, he died, and he got so sick of bad adaptations that they're not allowed to adapt it into anything. But they still got a lawyer just to tell people that. That's the whole, he gets a retainer just to tell people. You say, what about this? No. What about this? No. What about this? No. The only thing they allowed was a BBC radio play, because I was just, just reading it just straight off of the book.
Yeah, a direct read. Yeah. So you couldn't fuck around with that too much.
But then what happens if you break it? Does you get sued by a ghost?
I reckon the attorney's got. Well, I reckon the lawyer's got
I'm just joking around with that.
Yeah.
It's weird. Usually people steal because you're taking money, but it's just like, oh, I just don't want people to do with this. Like, all right, fine, it's done.
Adam Woodford again with a $2 super chat. Hey Zach, when are you going to be on the High Council or EFAP?
I don't know anyone on EFAP. I haven't been on High Council, I think, in like 2 years. Really? I think I was on the first episode, though. Pretty sure I was on the first one.
We'd love to have you on Friday Night Tights.
Friday Night Tights starts at like 2 p.m. I always find that strange.
Well, it used to start a little bit later at 4 p.m. But because they brought me on as a permanent co-host, they reduced the time because I'm British.
Yeah, so it's like always like the sun is like blazing, and I get the pop up Friday Night Tights. I was like,
Friday Night Tights at 2 p.m. while it's 10 p.m. for this British twat. Yeah. But for me, it's like goes through from 10 p.m. to like 3 o'clock in the morning for me. So it's a killer, and it literally takes me like 2 days to get my body clock back on track, because you can't, after 5 hours of sort of like adrenaline pumping conversation, you can't just immediately switch off. You gotta unwind. So I'm normally up while 6 a.m. So it takes me a couple of days to get the body clock back on track again, and then but I'm sure Gary would love to have you on. I know that for a fact. He'd love to have you on. So if you'd like to do that, I'm not trying to back you into a corner here, but if you'd like to do that, love to have you on. Where are we now? Hatch 450 SX with a $2 super chat. Backed Jawbreakers 1 and 2. Love them, and I'm backing number 3.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Good stuff. Thank you. Remember, link, folks, for Jawbreakers number 3, which is Grand Bazaar, is in the description box down below. So please do, if you can, if you're so desired. But I think it's going to be the best one. I just really like this idea. I think there's a really fun concept to run with this one.
Oh yeah, it's really good, and it's introducing a character that actually explains things that happen in other books. Kind of central, that female kind of goddess character you see on the cover. She's crucial to the whole franchise.
There you go. Zach is going to retroactively. No, I think I really do like the idea. When you first announced the release of it, and the concept of this bazaar kind of like coming up from hell, and it's just like, I like, this is one of those. This is like a real fun mystery episode of Stargate SG-1 or something. You know what I mean? They've arrived at this planet, and or a Star Trek episode. I kind of had that vibe for me, so I really gravitated towards it. Brian Christgau with a $5 super chat. Great interview, not asking Zach to dox himself, but does he have a PO box or something where I can mail him a copy of my funny book? Do you have a PO box at all?
Yeah, I have a PO box.
Is it on your About tab on YouTube?
No.
Okay. Do you give it out?
Yeah, on specific occasions.
Okay. Brian, I'll take that for exactly how I heard it. La Reddit silver member with a $10 super chat. Zach, Were you in 2-2 Infantry Division when they were at Fort Knox? I know 2-2 has moved around a lot, but I was in 126 Infantry at Knox under 1st ID, and 2-2 was right next to us at the time.
Yeah, so actually that's cool is that person still in the chat right now?
The Reddit Silver member, you're still in the chat. There's a
Because
little bit of a delay. So.
when I got to 2-2, they were already deployed. So they flew me out to Afghanistan, and I was in Bagram, and I wasn't. I was assigned like generically to 1ID, but not to 2-2. Then they were divvying up who went everywhere. So there was 126 who I believe was in Korengal at the time, and then 2-2 we were down in Maywand, and I got sent down to Maywand. The casualties in Korengal were much higher. And that was just one of those random, happenstance. You go there, you go there, you go there. So even though I've never worked with 126, I think of them a lot. Yeah. So what happens is they went to Fort Knox at the end of 2009. 2010 timeframe, beginning of 2010. I remember it because we got back from Afghanistan. I only had like 5 or 6 months left. So they just let you run out the clock. But my unit was going to Fort Knox. So they cut me orders for Fort Knox. I was like, you realize you're going to pay to move my whole house. And then I'm going to get out of the Army like 3 months later. So that was a pretty crazy, because that was also the same autumn where, well, he was Major Hassan back then. Nadal Hassan did he shot and killed all the people at Fort Hood.
I remember that. That was yeah, I remember. I remember when that actually happened.
Our footprint for 2-2, we were like a block and a half away from. It was this medical clinic near the theater, and I wasn't at our barracks, but I was at another building that was kind of equidistant from where the shooting took place. We didn't hear the shooting, but we did hear the sirens of people going to respond to it. We didn't know anything about it. So me and a couple of soldiers, we started walking up the grass, to help out, fire or whatever you need. And then there was an MP, and the MP saw a couple soldiers walking, and the MP, like, all the blood drained out of their face. And he was like, stop, go away. We didn't understand. Like, why would a soldier tell other soldiers to, like, go away and get real scared? And then we found out, obviously our cell phone started blowing up, and it was on the news a couple minutes later.
Wow.
But yeah, so I didn't go to Knox because they ended up realizing it was stupid to ship all my goods there, and I would get out, 3 months later.
That is crazy. That is mad. So there you go. The Reddit Silver member, I've been told, is still hovering in the chat somewhere.
Oh, great!
So hopefully they got that. Clint Matthews with a $2 super chat. Jawbreakers got my backing, and a little tip for us. Thank you, sir. Pollo Poppe Pollo PP with a €5 super chat. Parahumans comics adaptation when? Just the first arcs till the first Endbringer fight would be crazy. Does that sound familiar? No, I don't know what that is either. Parahumans, I don't know. That sounds like a bunch of disabled superheroes to me. I could see somebody going with that. Nightmare X123 with a $2 super chat. Have you ever considered working with Alterna Comics?
It never came up in conversation.
Have you chatted to Pete Smetty at all?
I talked to him a few times.
Okay, there you go. If they want to do anything, they'll thrash it out amongst themselves. And I think that brings us up to date. Excellent. That brings us up to date. So let's just wrap this up then. Richard, if you'd like to hock your wares again, because Jawbreakers is only $500 away from $127,000.
Well, really?
Yeah.
It was that jumped up a lot in a couple hours. Okay, wow. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I've got God King up. That's like, wait a minute. No, it's gone crazy. What the hell happened? No, okay, I brought God King up. Grand Bazaar. There we go. Thank you very much. Let's have a look. Yes, it is $432 away from 127,000.
Oh, nice. I was like, yeah, that's jumped up nicely in the last couple hours. Thanks to everyone. It was below 2,500 when I started the stream.
The link is in the description box down below, folks, if you want to back it. But Richard, sell it to the audience now. Tell us about Jawbreaker's Grand Bazaar.
Yeah, so Jawbreaker's Grand Bazaar is sent. Well, actually, I was just talking about Afghanistan. It was basically set, 10 years ago in Afghanistan. Silkworm is a private military contractor, basically a mercenary. Some actual soldiers can end up getting swallowed up by this Grand Bazaar that kind of erupts out of the desert, and then Silkworm and various people go to the Grand Bazaar for various reasons, and it's the formation of the team.
I'm going to do this. I thought the artwork, Malin's artwork in 1 was great. The artwork in number 2 was stunning. I thought it's absolutely phenomenal. And you can actually get yourself a Devil Dog mask as well as an add-on. I added that as an add-on because I could. So here's some images. Look at, this is quality work, dude. Look at that.
That's one of the things I like is, I'm kind of doing a lot of stuff. So honestly, like Chuck Dixon, when he writes a script, he will do all the research for the artist and give them all the pictures. But if you scroll up, I didn't give any. Said, draw a fob in Afghanistan, some soldiers in a guard tower. He looked up everything, and it looks like he was there.
It's I saw this when I saw this page. I was like, God damn, that's brilliant. Nice, some beautiful art there. So look at that as well, man. Is that one of the covers? Is that like one of the covers?
Which one? Right there?
This one here, yeah.
No, that's not a cover. That's like the first splash page.
God. Oh, it's amazing. That is some good stuff. Now we've got some demons.
Fantastic job.
We got some Madonna titties going on there from the 80s. Here we go. Then we got some Grand Bazaar. Expendables versus Jawbreakers. When's that happening?
Technically it's possible. I don't think it'll ever happen though.
Yeah. Okay. So I shall douche. There we go. So thank you so much indeed for coming on to the stream, Richard. I really do appreciate that. It's been wonderful to talk to you. I've really wanted to talk to you for a long time because your whole story was just so fascinating. Because to a normal, regular human being, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Considering all you were was a chap in a room roasting some comics. Hopefully, from your perspective, where you are now in regards to the success that you've had because of your comics, the journey has at least had some benefit from it. And certainly wish you all the best against Mr. Wade. Mr. Wade. And I'm pretty sure everyone is going to make sure that war chest is always ticked.
It's been great. People have kept it full. They've had it outdistance Mark Wade's because he's also got a GoFundMe. And so they've done everything they can to stall forever, obviously trying to run the war chest dry. So it helps that people have kept it from going dry.
Fantastic. So thank you, everyone who stopped by tonight. There are just a couple more super chats which came in when we were chatting. So I do want to just quickly get to them in case they do say anything. Woof, 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 woof. Where do we get to? There we go. Nate G with a $5 super chat says, just back Jawbreakers, Rich. Love you and Az's videos. Thank you very much. I like I said, it's great. It's great to have you on because I can just go off and watch a video later of yours and have a good time as well. So I can get something out of it. Shane O'Reilly with a $2 super chat. Where can we get the previous Jawbreakers from?
So that is an interesting question. Jawbreakers, God King, you're able to get there's a tier where you can just order that on Grand Bazaar. But the Lost Souls is out of print. I thought we were completely sold out, and then I found 200. So me and John Malin have a deal. So I sent he's getting 100, and then I'm getting the other 100. And I already sold out of my 100. So there are 100 left of Lost Souls, but it's going to be John Malin to sell, and it's going to be a premium because we saw what they were selling on eBay. I matched that. And I sold out 100 in like 3 hours and 4 minutes. So he's in the catbird seat to sell those last 100 copies.
Get that perk on Grand Bazaar while you can, then, because you don't want a repeat of that. SPDA242 with 25 Swedish krona. Another solid stream. Thanks, Zack and Az. Yotam Darkstar with a $1 poopy emoji. Maybe he's wanting to open his bowels. It's been a good stream. Over 3.5 hours. Project 17 with a £2 super chat. This stream has been awesome, guys. Thank you very much. And G Virus with a $5 super chat. Hey, Zack, is there any new comics you have in the works?
Yeah, so I've got I actually took Aaron off of he caught up on the script, and now I'm writing the end. I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure everything ties together nicely. He's like, well, I'm ready, give me something. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna start you on the next secret project. He's like, all right, cool. So he's already drawn the first 2 pages of the next secret project, and it is phenomenal. I gotta stop calling him the next Travis Charest because he's just unprecedented in comic book history. So we got that going. I've got this sci-fi stories that I've already talked about. They're ready to go, but I'm still a little not sure. I've never done a sci-fi book yet, so I might wait on that one, get some more material, or we'll see. And then the other one is that Ironsides 2. I'm gonna do a second printing since it's gonna be a while until Ironsides 3.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. Anything else that you'd like to, while you've got the audience, anything else you'd like to say?
No, just thanks. It was nice to go on a live stream. I like talking because like I said, I listened to this channel, so it was fun to go on.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay. Well, huge thank you to everyone who stopped by today. Massive thank you to my mods for being fantastic, and everyone who hit the super chat button. I'm very, very grateful indeed. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. So you take care. Bye for now.